All right. We're live. We freaking did it, guys. We're here. We're going. Welcome to the world of Alirra, a land that is currently rich. The people of Alirra have not seen too much war. The orcs of the wretched ash forest, not ass, thank you, default, the wretched ash forest, at times will seek to fight with the Eastern Lafate Kingdom. That war has been quenched or quelled for now. Our story takes place in Stodia Hall, and this place is one that is run by dwarves. The mountains of Stodia Hall protect and kind of create a safe valley. This valley, known as Morduk Valley, is where your characters are from. And Bearspire specifically is a small town that you as adventurers has found yourself. What I need all of our players to do is roll for me. We are going to roll initiative, and this is going to be the very first roll of the campaign. If you can, let's see him.
I just got a nat 20 on the first roll.
Nice.
Oh, you still not a loss.
I'm
Still not a
saying
loss.
Wow. Okay.
Two nat 20s.
Two nat 20s.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it up to you, the players, Toxin and Hikaru, aka Ham, and Mercy, to decide who goes first.
Well, seeing as technically Toxin got a 22.15 and I got a 22.
I mean, I will of course go first.
Okay. Well, let's set the scene, dear Hamish. Is that how you pronounce it, Hamish?
Hamish. Or Ham.
Ham.
Hamish Bonecoat, if you want to be more precise.
Very well. Then you are going to lead us off. Can everyone see this beautiful map? Or image, rather.
Aye, that I can.
Yep.
Alright. So,
Hold on
how do you
one
want to
second.
do this?
Oh, we're gonna do this. The slender, slightly taller than normal, dwarvish friend here, Ham. Your hands shake as you hold a bow pointed toward the ground. Anyone watching would blame it on the cold morning. Winter has lingered here longer than your family would have liked. The snow has begun to melt, leaving muddy creeks and sloppy trails. Rough patches of grass and roots from the trees are starting to spring from the snow. Ham was not so lucky to have that excuse. The shaking begins at his hands and it begins to move up into his chest. His jaw begins to clench and he has no control over this. With the early spring breeze tickling his face and hands, the wind is traveling down. The reason for this trembling could only be attributed to one thing, and that is nerves. Ham continued stalking forward, stepping softly through the undergrowth in a mostly successful attempt to avoid snapping twigs and pine cones sloughed under from the surrounding pines. The trail he is on is recent, and the elk had likely passed through that morning just mere twilight hours before. If you can, Ham, will you please describe yourself? What does Ham look like?
At this time, I'm a 15-year-old lad. But a wee bit shorter than I will be later on. I'd say a solid 4'6", a respectable height. 90 pounds, wearing a coat made out of hide. I'm holding a bow that's not mine, made out of fine wood that I have no business holding. A small iron dagger at my hip, borrowed from me mum. Boots, leather, crusted in snow, as I've been out here for a little bit of time. And I'm just barely starting to grow in a full beard, like I am now.
As you slowly move forward, you hear the voice of Ashrin mocking laughter played over and over in your head, threatening to reveal your approach. Ashrin and Nim, his sister, the female elven kids that you're growing up with, taunt you, even though they're not with you. But it's your fault, because you were the one that told them your secret, your desire to be a brave adventurer. Ashrin had wasted no time pointing out all the reasons why you, Ham, specifically, would be terrible at it. Nim, on the other hand, had showed genuine concern, which I imagine pissed you off even more.
Aye, it did.
She had been no small influence in your reckless decision, wanting to prove something that you yourself couldn't name. A few overconfident remarks later, and a bet was struck, and now, Ham, you find yourself stalking this elk, a thing that you had never done. With the bow loaned from Ashrin, Ashrin was kind enough to give you 3 days to take down this elk, and we're on the third day, Hamish. In front of you, you see 80 yards, casually grazing on the plants that are breaking through the snow, an elk. Its head adorned with 2 antlers with no forks, ending in single points. And despite the young age of this bull elk, it is still utterly massive compared to the 15-year-old version of yourself. What do you do?
I believe I'm too terrified to move. I'm just going to stand behind a tree and just wait.
The elk, its ears rotating like singular radars, begins to become more comfortable as it is downwind from you, or you downwind from it. It starts to move towards you. 80 yards. 70 yards. Just casually grazing. Its head looking now down at the ground. You have a shot. It looks up.
I'm going to slowly lift my bow.
It inches forward 60 yards. You could see the dirt and mud still caked in the fur from where this animal had been resting. At 50... Oh yeah, go ahead.
Once it gets within 50 yards, I'm going to try and take a shot.
At 50 yards, as you've drawn your bow, you can hear the stretching and the bending of the wood. You can also hear the sound of this elk breathing. And it's a stark contrast to the restrained and labored breathing that you yourself are experiencing. It's looking and smelling to see if it's still safe, and for the most part it does. As you draw back your bow, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Aha!
Take a drink, everybody. I have a drink, but I haven't poured it yet, so I'm gonna catch up. For everyone watching, Every time wisdom saving throw means everyone takes a drink.
Which is often. Painfully often.
Oh, are you kidding me? 2
Revenge.
rolls.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. So does the die go lower than that? Is that the lowest one?
It does not. It is the lowest.
Oh, that's the worst roll.
Yes.
Ah!
Yes.
Oh.
That
God.
one.
Red is no
man.
bueno. Red is no bueno.
Hey,
So, you go to draw the bow, and as you practiced so many times, Hamish, to release with the sensitive touch, to relax the muscles, you don't. You pull back even further, and with the twang, the arrow cuts the side of your face as the feather releases. And it doesn't purchase where it needs to, just mere inches behind the heart, and it bolts, and it just leaps higher than a wagon, and it is escaping you. What do you do?
I am pursuing. I give chase.
Okay, at this point, no more stealth. You are running. As you're running, bits of branches and snow falls on you and cuts across your face, and there's not a lot of blood. As the muscle and fur around this arrow immediately swallow the arrow, it is gone, and you are starting to chase. You're following its tracks, and your breath becomes labored until finally you hear the sound of this elk in a state of death. It is dying, and the sounds it is making are sounds that you have not heard in the wilderness. Now, you've seen, chickens being slaughtered and, cleaned. You've seen pigs on farms, but you never have heard this. 15 yards in front of you, just over the clearing, you see the snow has turned red, and in the middle of it, you see the deer, its eyes staring 1,000 yards in front of it, its feet kicking, but it is not moving, rather making a little elk angel on the snow. What does Ham do?
Seeing this for the first time, I kneel nearby and just begin to cry a little bit. There's no shame in it, seeing as I'm by myself.
Even if you weren't, I would cry with you. But I killed deers on the first shot. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Shots
It's the
fired.
dagger.
As you,
I don't like the pun.
Obviously.
Oh dear.
Oh, you stop it.
Oh, it's already begun.
as you kneel, weeping, eventually, the deer begins to slow. Its breathing softens, and finally, with the last deep breath, the eyes close, and it is dead. Your hunt is successful, and you have mere 2 hours before the deadline of the bet that Ashwin gave you. What are you doing with this massive elk?
I didn't plan this far ahead. I didn't expect to get one. And I'm going to say a silent prayer to the god of time that I have enough of it, and that I was able to find this elk, and begin my march back home to get some help to bring this back.
As you march home, without the deer, a thought crosses your mind. You long to be a force of good, a force of balance, and yes, you even wanted to become a heroic adventurer. Only now do you have a better idea of what that meant. Your eyes blink, and you are back in the Special Bear, the inn of Bearspire, and you are having a drink. And as you're having this drink, you look around the inn itself, and you see Chliva, who is the smithy. And you can see she is just covered in sweat and really just a long day's work. And from the bar, she looks at you and she can tell that you've been lost in thought. She just gives you a gentle nod. We now turn to Mercy, who rolled the second nat 20 of the night.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Maybe the second nat 1.
Oh, please don't.
Maybe,
Don't
if
put
we're
that-
lucky.
Don't put that evil on me.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Put that thing back right here, so help me.
Mercy. Dear, dear Mercy. You find yourself in your tinkerer's shop. It has been... I hate to say it, Hikaru. It's been too long since you've left this shop. You can see piles of discarded plates of food. You can see old washcloths where you've kind of sponge bathed a little bit, at least to get the soot out of your eyes. You've become completely nose blind to the smell of this shop, which is linseed oil, a little bit of turpentine, oil, ash, metal, and brass. And you know, if you've ever held a copper coin just a little bit too long and you get that smell on your fingers, that is what that is your scent. And as you sit in this dark room, the lights of candles burn brightly on top of these metal poles. Another tinkerer's invention for longer lasting burns. These candles are lit once a 10-day. And that's one of the inventions that actually you are most proud of. There's cracks in the floorboard above. And these floorboards, between the cracks with the torchlight above, create these curtains. And with all the dust and soot that's down here, just these rectangular beams of light. And through the light curtains is a girl. Her goggles are fogged up from the excited concentration. You have been working on a puzzle for weeks. And what began as an inanimate object has suddenly opened. And as you're holding this object in your hand, there's a faint click, and the head of the object suddenly is able to be rotated like a puzzle. The object in your hand is the shape of a piton. It's got a flat head and a cone-shaped spike on its other end. Now, the object was stolen from Narutus, from a noble in Vabrigia. And to be honest, the noble thought it was a parchment weight. And as Narutus came back, he being the rogue of the Frost Roses guild that you were part of, he dumps all of the loot on the table in front of your whole guild. And as the spoils of the job were spilled on the table, this one rolled off. And as the Frost Roses have done well for themselves, the Dragonborn puffs his chest out in a show of prowess, gives you a nod, and as you look over, so do the rest of your guild. They've given you permission to take it. It's yours.
Oh, I snatched in a second. It's gone.
Mercy, I'd like for you to describe what your character looks like.
So Mercy is, she looks to be about 19. Very pale porcelain white skin and very large doe eyes that are very pretty violet color. She is a human with naturally hair that has been dyed blue just to cover it up. She likes to dye her hair. She thinks it's fun. She wears mostly a bunch of mishmashy clothes, all of it not fitting correctly. She's very tiny for her size, for what you'd think a 19-year-old would look like. Very, very small. And big gloves, boots that look like they're a little bit too big, goggles and other overalls that have pockets unmatchingly stitched in all over the place that hold who knows what.
Yeah. And when you talk about how you're a lot older than you look,
Mm-hmm.
this is something that only recently are you starting to see how the world responds to that. Now, the Frost Roses Guild, they begun to share information with you. You're no longer a mouse. You are part of the crew, and they trust you. They've even helped you earn your sea legs. They help you learn the price of loot. And as soon as you rotate the head of this object, it begins to unfold like origami. And the tip of the piton flattens like the peeling of a banana. And the object opens into a hollow boat. The head of the piton begins to unfold into wings. They look like dragon wings or dragonfly wings. And then between the wings sprouts a sphere. The sphere is the size of the boat, hanging merely inches above this object that you're currently holding in your hands. And then there's a flash of bright blue light that immediately, instinctively, you put your goggles down. And when you adjust to the bright light, you see that this object is floating above your hand. And it starts to circle around you, around your head. Just then you hear a knock at the door as the person who stole this reaches out and says, "Oi! The boss needs us. You all done in here?"
A minute, just a few minutes.
All right. They don't like you holding them up, so whatever you're doing, wrap it up.
I know, I'm trying.
Yeah. Bring the dishes. The object itself, as you were distracted, is now lying on the floor, back in its original shape. The only difference is, now the moving parts have a blue neon highlighted ring that let you know that whatever you were doing, you just solved the next piece of this puzzle. And as you flash back into the special bear, you see that in front of you, and you're sitting at the bar, you see that there's a hammer that you brought with you. And Gamal, the owner of the trade store, probably not too keen on you taking tools, but seeing as this is your day job, he'll get over it. You hear Ham moving about in his chair as he beckons for you to come and have a seat. You both have had a very long day in Bearspire. Next, who do we have on our turn order?
I believe Savvy, me sir.
Savvy. Let's go.
No, it's not. It's not
14.
Savvy.
Who is
It's
it?
not Savvy.
Who is
It's
it?
Robin. It's
And
Robin.
yeah.
Oh.
Now I see why you missed the shot.
More shots fired.
That's fair.
More shots missed.
Oh, staggering blow. Get it? Because it's stag.
Too soon. It is too soon for that. And you know it.
Never.
Way too soon.
Did we say it's Robin's turn? Did I hear that right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Please.
Okay. Robin, you hear the sounds of campground. The troop is barking orders of disassembly of all the tents. And you can hear the horses stirring as large bags and material are lurched onto the caravans. You could smell food cooking over open fires at the center of the grounds. Your own tent flap is waving in the wind, creating the sounds of waves. You've grown accustomed to this in your age. You've been doing this for so long that none of this is surprising to you. You are used to packing light. You are used to being ready to move quickly. And there's a special skill that you've honed, and that is just the skill of just adapting to whatever town, whatever city, whatever environment that this bard troop that you're from has moved to. You are slow to rise to your stool as you, with your elbow on your knee and your hand on the stool, you sit up and you plop down on the stool. You're pretty much already dressed for the day, but there's a few things you have to do. You're slow to a lot of things these days. You're slow to speak. You're slow to anger. But when you do speak, by the gods, you grab your pipe and you light it as you wait for your tea to stew. You keep a very tidy workspace, and all that's left is to pack your sleeping bag. The show must go on after all, right, Robin? And that means that 3:10 day from today, down to Strathmore via wagon, the great port city in the south of Morduke Valley. If you can, Robin, will you please describe yourself to us?
Yeah. So it's a 60-something-year-old gentleman. He's got traveling clothes on, and they were nice once, tailored for him specifically, even. But I mean, they've grown old and they're threadbare, and maybe a couple of the middle buttons around his belly pull just a tad tighter. Got just white hair on top of his head, coming out of his ears, bushy on his eyebrows, and just a gigantic mustache. It just is unruly. It's untamable. It dominates most of his face. When you look at his face, even behind the mustache, you can see just these deep, very, very well practiced, like laugh lines, and they're around his ear, his eyes, and his mouth, and he's just very happy looking guy. But he's old, and he sits very slowly. He stands very slowly. He announces every time he moves with a humph or a grumph or something like that. But yeah, he just looks happy to be here wherever he's at.
All the love that the gods of language withheld from Hector Silva, your father, they gave freely to a man named Robin. And when he spoke, the whole world stopped to listen. And when he was silent, the world leaned in closer, waiting anxiously for more words. To hear Robin speak was akin to worship, for you felt the love of gods flowing out of every syllable. And as you're thinking about that, you hear, excuse me, and you recognize the voice almost immediately. It's the voice of Carl. and Carl. And every time you say the name Carl, you have to say it like that because Carl's a butthole. He addresses himself outside of your tent, and Hector, your father, sold the troop to this man. And he looks like his name sounds. And sorry to anyone who has family or friends named Carl. This man is round and tall, and his suspenders kind of hold up his pants. And he found comfort in kind of locking his thumbs on them as he kind of speaks to the troop. Are you presentable?
Oh yeah, come on in, Carl. Get on in here. I actually wanted to talk to you about something. So I've been noticing something. I know what you're gonna say. You're stressed. Everyone can see it. I can see it. It's tough work being the boss. But I was thinking, since tonight's the last performance, let's like throw a big shindig. And you should come out with the troop, you know? Like, we should just party. And you never come out partying with us. You always say, like, chip, we got work in the morning. Something like that. I don't know. I whatever you say. You know what you say. You're the one who said it. But I think it would do you some good. You look stressed. I don't mean that in a harsh way. I mean that in like a, take care of yourself. You deserve it.
Can we pause for a second? This
You just have to let that one go. You just can't let it go.
let me just say, I will never mention this again. This is session 1. This is the beginning. Are we locked in? Default player, are we locked in?
It's in my writer.
Okay.
It's in my contract.
Okay. We're locked in. Very well. Very good.
I'm in it till the end or until you kick me out. And so I picked the voice that might get me kicked out.
Okay. We're in. Okay. Listen, Robin.
No.
And he lets himself in, and he looks around, and you could tell he's frustrated, and the ground looks as good as it did before you even set up camp here. Again, you're a very, I need to take a drink. You are a very light camper, we'll say. Listen, Robin. I know you want your friends and fellow actors to succeed. That much is obvious to see. My dear Robin, you're holding them back. Don't you see it?
Oh.
I don't think it's on purpose. But the honest truth is, you are bad for this troop.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't, I didn't see that. But I appreciate, I'm open to constructive criticism. So,
Well,
what would you suggest?
let me give it to you. Let me give it to you, Robin.
Yeah. I'm willing to learn and help.
You see 2 very tall gnomes walk by, and he kind of sees them and gives them a curtsy, snaps his suspender, and he closes the tent. It's rather dark in here because you were using the light from outside, but the light from the fire of the kettle kind of lights up the under of his belly and the under of his chin, and he says, Robin, we are nearly 2 weeks behind schedule because of you. The others watch you. They follow your lead. They look up to you. They would never tell you to your face that you are clipping their wings, Robin.
Our wings, you say?
I do.
I was kind of hoping we would plan the after party. I thought that's why you were here. 2 weeks, you say?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he opens up his jacket and he pulls out a piece of paper He unfolds it, and on this parchment he says, Hector wrote a stipulation in the buying agreement of this troop. When I took over this operation, that I cannot fire you. So I'm just going to ask you outright, as a friend, please step away from the troop. Let them go.
He'll reach out and take the piece of paper, and he goes, my dad said you couldn't fire me. And he's reading it. He doesn't understand. He's not a legal guy. He's not a business guy. I didn't know he did that.
He snatches
nice
the
of him,
paper
I
back
guess.
and he folds it and he puts it away. He goes, yes, it's why you've been with us for so long. It's why we put up with this. And at this point, you see his face is starting to go beet red, and he's starting to get upset. And whatever casualties and niceness and professionalism is quickly starting to go out the window, the same way it has every single time Carl has gotten upset. Listen, Robin, I am always having to drag you from place to place. If you open the tent and look outside, and he opens it, and you could see that yours is the only standing tent. Everyone else is kind of sitting, playing cards, and they're all ready to go.
Well, you see, because my hip isn't what it used to be, and the Pilates in the morning helps. It loosens it up a bit. And you got to do the stretches so the back doesn't lock up on the road. That'll slow us down way longer than a tent. But no, I see what you're saying. I mean, I could do better if, but I don't want to clip anyone's wings. I didn't know anyone had wings.
And they're going to fly. We are going to make
Yeah.
so much happiness with you
Yeah.
gone.
Oh, thought I was helping with the making of the happiness.
Look,
Yeah. Well, no, it's fine. No, hey, Carl, I'm glad you brought it up, because I was thinking with the hip, and the back,
yes.
that I was kind of thinking of taking up some new hobbies. I'm really excited to try bird watching. I've heard it's very exciting and good on the hips, and it won't be with the troop.
We would support you. And hey, if we ever happen to go by the old folks' home in your town, we'll have a show just for you. It's what your father would have wanted. And I'll tell you one even better. We are not going to have a party tonight. We have to catch up. Tonight is the final show. And then we're off.
And you're gone.
We're going to make this a clean break.
Clean is good. Clean's good. I hear you gotta be clean for bird watching, which I'm excited for. So do I get to keep the tent? I know it's technically the troops tent.
You don't. It's got our banner on it, our logo.
Banner on it. It's the branding.
Yeah.
So right.
Hey, good
well,
talk.
I gotta pack up your tent.
He starts to
I wouldn't
take a
want
couple
to
steps
slow us
backwards.
down. Thanks, Carl. That was good.
Of course. Hey, couldn't have done it without you, buddy. And he snaps his suspenders and he walks out, leaving you alone in the tent. You can hear whisperings from the troop just outside the door.
So we're gonna kill Carl first, right?
Carl!
I was gonna be like, do you want me to kill
Just me?
I have another rule. The more you hate an NPC, the more that NPC becomes the final big bad of the game.
I'm calling his bluff. I have tested this religiously for years. I can promise you it was never enough.
So we're
Again,
gonna
like
kill
we
him
wouldn't
first,
want
right?
Carl as the big bad of the game.
He deserves to be the big bad.
It would be great, this climactic moment where we rob him of all his
Happiness.
happiness.
Yes, happiness.
And cut all of his suspenders. None of his pants will stay up.
Eventually, this mountain of a man walks in, and he is a Goliath. And this Goliath, with green and gray skin, kind of walks in, and he kind of ruffles your hair a little bit and says, "We heard the news. We wanted to tell you. We're so sorry, Robin."
Oh,
The name of the
Hey,
Goliath
pal.
is Chauncey.
hey Chauncey, pal. Honestly, I've been thinking about it for a while now. You probably heard, if you heard the news about that, you probably heard the other news that I'm considering bird watching. Or button collecting.
I think that's
Those-
wonderful.
Yeah.
And personally, I just wanted to thank you, Robin. The triple tuck with the 5-point landing with tack, we've mastered it, and you're going to see it
Good for
tonight.
you, bud!
No, it's because of
Oh!
you. It's because of you. It's because of you.
No way!
It's true.
I'm so proud of you! You guys tried so hard and for so long. You guys earned it, honestly.
You'll see Tack walk in, and Tack is a gnome, and he just kind of looks at you, and he kind of looks down at the ground and immediately goes to start untying ropes around the bottom of the tent.
Baxter, stop what you're doing right now. I heard you got the quadruple triple tuck with the 16-point landing, and I just am ecstatic.
It's only
Like,
5 points,
how-
boss, but yeah, me and Chauncey, we got it.
Well, with you, you earn the extra points. You did, come on in here, guys. And he puts his arms out for both of them to give him a hug.
Chauncey puts the post down. You can see he lifted the center post of the tent. He puts it back down, and he goes and he kind of lifts you up off the ground and gives you a big old bear hug, dangling your feet a little bit.
Could I hate to ask this of you, but could I have a button? My button collection is very, very small. It is non-existent, and I'm afraid to tell people I'm collecting buttons and not have any buttons to show them. You have a button? I'll borrow it. I'll give it to you back before you leave. I just want to show that I have a button.
I don't wear buttons, boss, and he doesn't. He's
No.
just wears shorts, a loincloth, basically.
Yeah, me neither. And he tries to cover up his buttons.
So at this point, they start taking down the tent, and you find yourself kind of walking around saying goodbye to people as everyone is absolutely in love with you, as your family started this troop. The evening comes, and the masses start to make their way to the show, and the show is magnificent. Probably the best show that you've ever seen, and you can see a tear in a lot of the performers' eyes, even during funny and jovial scenes. And every one of them kind of gives a slow nod to this random person standing behind the crowd as you have your hands in your pocket, just rubbing your thumb against your hat, twitching your whiskers. You see the show begin, it ends, you see all the residue of flowers and coin on the stage, and you see the people start to leave. And then, like clockwork, everything was packed up. The caravan is on its way, and into the wee hours of the night, the last torch hanging on the back of the last caravan disappears behind the horizon line, and you find yourself alone with your pack.
Robin, stands in the middle of the road watching until he can't see that light anymore of the caravan, and he probably stays for even a little bit longer after he can't see it anymore. And just sobbing. The last thing he says before he goes in to like find some place to sleep, he goes, "Clean break." Turns around and walks inside.
It's on site for Carl, guys.
It's not Carl, it's Carl.
Carl!
Carl. No, I can't do it.
I'll fix it. It's on site for Carl. 100%.
Okay. Mrs. Savvy. The night is overcast. The water choppy. The sea is pitch black. Even the seagulls are nowhere to be found. The ones that always linger around your ship. The Relentless has not struggled to catch its prey, not this night. The outcome itself wasn't odd, but the chase certainly did feel that way. In truth, it hadn't been much of a chase at all. The tri-mastered bark had shown little regard for the winds, the currents, or even its own heading from the moment they had spotted it. She had barreled unerringly forward without so much as trimming the sails. In fact, not once in the last few hours had the ship taken a single action that would suggest it was even aware of them. Giggles, if you could please describe what Savvy looks like.
Savvy, or Savaliala, would not naturally strike you as a particularly imposing figure. A bit below average in height, at least. She really wouldn't tower over any, except for maybe a shitty archer. But
Level 1 archer, you mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Even still, I think that typical of what you would expect, she moves with a sure-footedness that betrays a depth of confidence in her. Athletically lean. I think that a trained eye would see that she knows how to handle herself. And she has dark, wavy hair that's faintly auburn in the light that is often left out. When, in general, you see her gear, it is well worn, as you would expect from somebody that spends time at sea. And though her leathers are great and, again, a little worn by salt spray, grit, her blade is not only sharp, but it gleams in the faint light of the night. She will be among the first to cross over the rails as the boarding begins.
As you are close enough to board this other ship, you can see your crew on rope swinging across. You land in a perfect 3-point awesome style. The person who lands next to you, not so graceful and with a heavy thud. Felgrid unceremoniously deposits himself next to you. Well, that's an easy one, the portly man replied with a wry smile faintly visible in the dull light of the heavens. This here's a ship, love, and it's fucking empty. Now, beside them, the other boarders quickly made their way aboard in a flurry of activity and uproarious cacophony. No sense in stealth or subtlety at this point, as they are stomping on the deck. Still, given the circumstances, Most seem to fall somewhere in between Savvy's caution and Felgrid's flippant disregard. Slowly they spread out across the deck, blades drawn as though expecting their tide to change at any moment. Finding yourselves now aboard, however, you're only left with more questions. The cannon ports remained closed. Razor nets clearly present along the rails, but remained firmly secured and wholly incapable of repelling boarders. There's no scouts in the rigging, and there's no hand at the helm. And as a result, the deck is yours for the taking, without even so much as a scratch.
It's not empty. You know better than that, Felgrid. It's more than likely they realized they couldn't outrun us. They're probably below deck, just waiting.
Shitty fucking hosts, they ain't. If anything, the theory only seemed to further guide Felgrid to complacency. Well, let's have a look up the old girl's skirt and get it done. And with a sweeping wave and a bow, the quartermaster invited you forward. Well, after you. Folks always seem to like you better. Not that I ain't understood why.
A mystery. So...
yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I think that Savvy would take the invitation then and kind of step forward. Imagining the deck of a ship, I would imagine that you would be seeing an entrance down to the hold, or at least cargo hold. And again, assuming that they might be down there, I think that that's where she would cautiously approach.
Now, all around, the boarding party made their best effort to quench the fires of hope, with their heavy boots thudding on the deck as the night was punctured with the wild hollering of blooded veterans and the clanging of sabers. Whoever there was below, there was no mistaking the magnitude and disposition of the souls that now occupied their ship. They seemed, if anything, eager to deliver the promised threat. 1 second, 2, 5... A 10 count passed with nothing more than the groan of the deck and stretching of rope as the waves rocked against the hull. You don't hear anything, and you don't see anyone, and neither does your crew.
All right, down there. We'll be taking some of this cargo off your hands. Leave us to it, and we'll spare you water and rations aplenty. You try us, and you're dead to the last. I promise you that.
Maybe they're smarter than I give them credit for, Felgrid says as he shoots you a glance. Though for sure, the half the casks and crates below were going to be drenched in blood by the time we were finished. And with that, he gestures, and you head down below deck.
Again, I would imagine then that she would be on edge, expecting trouble. Nothing has been seen thus far doesn't mean that nothing is there. And so I would imagine her blade is drawn as she moves across the deck and goes to proceed below deck.
Now, as you make your way down, the first place you go is to the captain's cabin. Lavishly appointed, it was clear that the captain had done well for himself. Rich silks and tapestry adorned the walls, where ornate utensils, tools, and decorations glittered in the dull illumination of moonlight through the great windows at the rear. The wealth of the cabin's former occupant was made all the clearer as she lit a lantern and began her search in earnest. It's not terribly organized space. There were charts on the table, and of course surrounded by ivory instruments of exceptional quality. A golden chalice with several glimmering stones inlaid around its surface. Against the wall, a small collection of books rested upon a few shelves that had been built into the cabin's wall. Resting on the ground not far from the captain's bunk, the light falls upon a beautiful saber. the dark steel of the blade subtly refracting the light, a long, sleek implement that seemed out of place for the otherwise aristocratic trappings that surrounded it. Where the cabin was full of much that would be considered beautiful, this blade held an allure of an entirely different breed, and there it lies.
Don't mind if I do. And I can imagine her, again, just moving through the cabin. And, okay, who can read in this day and age? Like, books aren't going to interest her. Like, that's not going to, no. Ivory, who's got use for that? Utensils? Why do you need utensils? You have hands. It's fine. Right? So, yeah, I do think that a blade would catch her eye. Yeah, for sure. So, you described kind of a moving through the cabin with the lantern. I mean, there's nobody in here, but was there a sign of a struggle? Was there any indicate? I mean, for all intents and purposes, like, what's the rest of the ship sound like right now?
Yeah.
If she's here, what's happening elsewhere?
I'll have you, Savvy, please roll an investigation check.
Hey, we got that.
Oh, a 19.
We got that. We got that.
We got it. Yeah. Yeah, and anything's easy to investigate when everyone's dead or gone. You notice that there are no signs of life. There's no blood. The weapons are still in their places. The food has been prepared and is set on tables, but no one's there to eat it. The food itself isn't rotten, so it was made within the last few hours. The captain did not take any valuables with them. Doors are closed. Nothing broken. Even the captain's log and maps are all there as if the captain is going to return any second. The lifeboats are still in place. The rations, the ale, the water. This ship is seaworthy and ready, but empty.
And found in the middle of nowhere, like,
Yeah.
how distant from land, like.
Yeah, you're probably a good month of travel from the nearest shore. Way, way far west. And I will show you. You are far west of the Moonlit Cove. Way out in the ocean in this direction.
Well, I mean, I guess what I was really in that moment trying to see, it doesn't sound that there's any kind of signs of struggle or anything happening down below. And, fortunately, it sounds like we're transitioning to the looting stage of this night. So, how fortunate that she should find herself in this place that is so welcoming and so very empty and so very ready for all sorts of new ownership to take place here. So approaching the blade, then you said it was kind of just laying on the ground?
Yeah, it's laying on the ground, and although it is a beautiful blade and is shining in the light, you do notice that there is a little bit of a film on it. It's like almost like squid ink mixed with some sea kelp and water. It's just kind of slimy. That kind of coats the hilt and handle of this blade.
that's nothing that little seawater won't take out. So yeah, no, I think that so she'll go and let's see what kind of blade is it. She'll go and inspect it. She picks it up.
Okay. As you pick it up, you feel a piercing, icy sensation in your hand from the moment you touch it, and it is a cruel lance of pain, and one that caused your fingers to involuntarily clench around the source of your affliction with a white-knuckled grip. You open your mouth to scream, and you could feel your chest seize in fear, and you fail to so much as make a sound. Rapidly shooting up your arm, you feel your legs give out as your knees hit hard against the ground. And your legs give out as this glacial wave overcomes you. And I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Saving throw, yeah.
Cheers, everybody!
Drink.
Hope you brought your Pampers. Ooh!
Get
Gosh, dang it.
That's 3.
Yes. As your eyes start to roll and the ground starts to tilt, you fall and you can feel your head bounce against the wood underneath the captain's deck. And for a moment, you just capture a glimpse of something dark and something deep in the abyss of the ocean. And when it is about to overcome you, you hear the sound of a whale's call. And it's hard to say whether it was a single minute or dozens before, Savvy, you lurch back into consciousness with a start. And as sweat is matted in your hair, your eyes dart about as you orient yourself in the darkness with the most severe headache you could ever remember.
What would have happened on a 1?
We will restart the session and find out.
Okay,
From
well
the
that's
top, everybody reset.
well, that's something. Okay, so I think that the first thing. So she just kind of comes to on the ground and goes to look at her hand first. How about that?
You look down at your hand and it's fine. There's nothing. There's no bruise. There's no strange mark, no cut. Not so much as a blemish. There was nothing to be seen besides the 1 or 2 rings you always wear. And no slime.
To stop taking his pipe weed. Bored. I think that a cautious hand, more specifically like a cautious finger, will reach out to like kind of poke at the blade that's on the ground beside her. I cannot express how hesitantly and tentatively we are touching this blade. So the briefest little contact that I can manage right now.
The blade is cool to the touch, colder than room temperature, but doesn't shock you, doesn't bite. It is a blade, and it is beautiful.
I takes the blade, looks it over, and eventually sheathes it. I think that I think Savvy's done boarding tonight. I think that she'll leave the looting to everybody else. We can make sure that they have plenty of time to claim what they want. She's had enough for tonight.
You are going to make your way up as you're here in the all clear. Your crew is still very much actively looting. You see a couple of your crew swinging in their hammocks, eating chops of meat off of their plates, just having a very good time. And Felgrid bumps into you, and as he bumps into you, a couple coins fall out of the bottom of his pants. You look like you've seen a fucking ghost. Everything all right, milady?
It will. Yep. We are not smoking again. Not again. Not before. Every time. Every time, Felgrid. And I think she'll just shove past him and go to the deck. And I think that she would return to the Relentless. This does not seem like a welcoming ship. I don't want to be on it.
Okay, you take a rope and you swing back. By this time, there's planks out, and you take a rope or a plank back, and you make your way down into your room. And you didn't kill or draw blood from a single soul, but something way heavier rests on your chest, and you find yourself passing out so fast. You open your eyes, and you're covered in blood, and you're wearing an apron, and it is a thick apron, and you're walking from the ranch towards the special bear, and you are pushing a cart of freshly cleaned boar. And the way they like it at the special bear, the way the cook has always asked for it, is everything gets eaten. The feet, the ears, the head, it all. And you have done a really good job learning how to clean pig. And you've done so under the tutelage of Tien and his son Hamidi, the two father and son who run the Borealis Ranch. And it's moments like these where you find yourself doing things that you do all the time, monotonous things, that you keep getting these flashes of what happened not so long ago, and your blade is still with you. It's always with you. The back door opens, and you see Camille give you a thumbs up as he quickly rushes into the kitchen. Before you drop off all the meat, you are met by the other cook in the special bear, and Leary, the owner of the special bear, pulls the apron off of you, bids you to go wash up in the latrine, and says, "That'll do. Go. You know how it is. The first couple rounds are on me. We appreciate what you and your friends have done since coming to Bearspire. Go. Make yourself at home." And with that, you find yourself free to move wherever you want in the special bear, because you kind of work for them or with them and the ranch at the same time.
Worst experience for her. Absolutely. It's almost ironic to have a wholly dedicated vegetarian butcher, but let me tell you, she is utterly disgusted by this entire affair. She makes sure she cleans herself thoroughly.
Okay. Leon Le Lion. It's your turn, pal. Wait for it. Okay. Camille. Before we show the scene, you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you don't wake up by a bell ringing or the crow of a rooster. You wake up because if you don't get your ass out of bed in the next 50 seconds, all hell is going to crash through that door in the form of your father Bernard. So up you go. You quickly pull the sheets and tighten them and make your bed as if at any moment you can quickly go back to bed this evening. You put on your boots, you put on your gloves, and as you open the door, your father has one hand out. And in that hand is a mug, and in that mug is hot black coffee. And he doesn't say a word to you. He's not even looking at you. He just has it up in the air towards you.
Camille knows what this means. He's never been a fan of coffee, but hard day's work ahead. His father hands him the mug, so he just walks up, takes it, tries to drink it as quick as he can, regardless of the heat.
And it's grainy, you know, it kind of sticks to your teeth and the roof of your mouth. And you know that in about 15 minutes, it's really going to kick in. Your mother is there, and you can see that your mother actually has her hood up. And that's the first thing that strikes you odd about this scene. This is just another Monday. And you know that here in about 10 minutes, you're going to eat as fast as you can. You're going to clean your dish. You're going to pack your dish. And then you're going to go out to the fields and you are going to work. But your mother has her hood up. And your father sees you notice her and quickly clears his throat. And it's just the subtlest of verbiage that says, "Mind your business, son." I need you to make a perception check.
Not a problem.
Very nice. You can see just a faint twitch of your mother's shoulders, and you hear it, the telltale sniffle of a woman who's been crying and is currently crying as she has her back to you. Your father clears his throat. You quickly start to eat and finish your coffee, and you see against the door regalia, a full suit of warrior's armor. And this armor is not a paladin's armor or a knight's armor. This is a fighter's armor, leathers and chainmail and a pole arm. And it is out and ready. The boots, the belt, the dagger with your family crest on it. Things that you haven't seen in years. Your dad clears his throat again. And in your head, you hear, "Mind my business. Mind my business." Your dad gets up. You get up with him. And out the door you go. First to the chickens. Then to the pigs. Then to the farm. And before 8 a.m., you have done more work than most other families do in that amount of time. What are you thinking, and how do you get through these kind of days?
Usually a day like this would be normal. This is Camille's, at least once a week. We've got a big, hard day of work. There's some things that we missed throughout the week. We have to catch up. But the morning's events plague him. Something is off, and that's all he can think about. So a usual 4 or 5 hours of work feels more like 12.
Yeah. And work you do, and you do good work. This farm has been in your family since you were a wee pup, and it is home. You live on the eastern border of the Lafate Kingdom. And to show everyone what that looks like, the Lafate Kingdom to the north is split into 3 kingdoms. It's run by 3 kings. And the eastern king, known as King Solus Derivar, is the king that overlooks your home. You work, and after work, what would normally be a little bit of time of rest followed by training with your father, he pulls you into the room, and for the first time in the day, he actually uses words. Son, I have something that I need to show you. And he opens up one of the cupboards, and you see the same gear that he had out in the living room. And he lays it down on the bed. And he lays down this golden tabard. And in the center of the tabard is a feather. And the feather itself rests on top of a crown of a twig. And he tells you, son, the king has made his call. And today we march. You and I. We're heading to the coast. The wretched ash orcs. They are breaching. And we're leaving now. Don your gear. And what do you do?
Kind of stand there for a moment, scratching my head, and then... Well, I get that, you know, King's got to have his decrees, but, I mean, Ma can't take care of the farm herself.
Ma can work circles around us, and you know this, son. Besides, the Thibodeau family next door is going to help. This is what we have been training for, son.
Yes, sir.
I'm not asking. I'm telling you.
Yes, sir.
He leaves the room, and you can hear faint whispering between your mother and your father, and within 30 minutes, you're on horseback, and you have your polearm, you have a dagger, you have at least 5 days of ration, and you begin to gallop and move towards the coast. As you make over the final hill, you see that the war has already begun. Dozens of orc ships have breached onto the sand, and you see the King's Guard and militia and other people just like you are there, and they're fighting. And your father looks at you, and he says, follow the gold. And he kind of pats himself on the chest, wearing the same tabard as you, and immediately rushes into the battle, and you're not ready. You're not moving at his clip, and he leaves you almost instantly, and within mere seconds, he is lost in a blur of orc and humans and half-elves and everyone else who's currently fighting. Make a perception check. Okay, very good. The first thing you see is 2 orcs standing over this man, and one of them has his foot on the man's chest. The other one is coming down with 2 hands on his halberd right on top of the man's neck, and you have mere seconds to respond, and this catches your eye. What do you do?
I think I close my eyes and just kind of jab outward.
It makes purchase. You hear the grunt and the gurgle as the tip of your polearm pierces under the armpit, and the horse itself lunges backwards and immediately throws the orc down. The man rolls onto his back, gets up to his feet, and begins to parry and fight the orc. You don't recognize this man, but he is probably twice your age. And then you realize you are in the fight. And as you're running through the beach, now more comfortable, trying to find people that need help, you feel the horse disappear. And before you can grab the reins, you realize that you're not on a horse. You are flying. And the ground is moving fast. And time slows down for a moment, and you kind of catch the wave, seeing you're about to land on very cush water, roll out to deny you that fall. And into the sand you fall, and you roll. And with sand in your eyes, you are lifted off the ground. But you're not lifted by a friend. You are lifted by foe. And he's grabbing you by the back of your neck and grabbing all the hair on your scalp, and up you go. I need you to make a dexterity saving roll.
That's awesome. Yep. Let's go.
Okay. You feel a punch to the chest. And then you feel a punch to the stomach. And then you feel a punch to your arm. And you're thinking to yourself, that didn't hurt. Is this fighting? Right? You see the carnage around you, but the pain is not there. It's only when you look down that you realize that those aren't punches, those are stabs. And what is stabbing you is a 7-inch blade, and what's holding that blade is a very, very angry orc. And noticing that you're bleeding, you fight back. How do you fight back?
I think he goes into fending coyotes off from the livestock mode, and he just starts whacking with his spear, but like just hitting him with the haft of it, and just trying to hit him in the nose.
Okay. And fighting you do. And this rage overcomes you. And as you are fighting, you realize that the polearm is starting to get heavier. And your hits are starting to be parried. And you're starting to see people coming to your aid. And where you're fighting against 1 or 2 orcs, now there's 3 of you fighting against 1 orc. And then, as you stop for a moment and you kind of look out on the field, you hear, "Hey." And as you turn around, there's an orc standing above you. The next thing that you remember is the ocean waves and the sound of seashells kind of scratching and bumping it against each other underneath the waves. Your body is being pushed onto the shore and pulled into the ocean. And eventually a big wave slides you all the way up onto the shore. You wake up choking, and as you've been rolled in the waves on the beach, and the final wave sliding you up on the shore, with the wet cough, you expunge seawater and blood from your mouth. And you see this image. You see many bodies also washed up on the sea. You see that the orc boats are burnt and sunken. Some of them offshore, some of them onshore. The only signs of life are the birds circling above and the birds that are scavenging. This war has been over for hours. And there's no one else that has shown up to help. And there are both orc and human casualties. Many. What do you do?
He sort of gets up, goes to rub sand and water out of his eyes, definitely just rubbing more sand into his eyes.
It do be like that, don't it?
I think he just stands still for a little bit longer than is rational, just trying to understand his surroundings before there's that sort of flash of recollection of like, oh, I didn't come here alone, and he starts just sprinting through the carnage trying to find his father.
Can you, if you haven't already, describe what Camille looks like?
Yeah.
Pre-war, not washed up on the ocean. What does Camille
Yeah.
normally look like?
Camille is a young man of 27 years. He's very lithe with a lot of functional muscle. He's not a bulky guy, but living the farm life your whole life will do that to you. Definitely more lithe with a narrow face, a good swath of freckles from one cheek to the other, with very long brown hair, usually braided, keep it out of his eyes. He wears a leather cord around his head to further keep his vision clear. With sort of hazel eyes, green that goes into brown. He's very much a typical farm boy. He does not stand out from the other young men of Dunwich very much.
Also, I love the braid. As you immediately realize, where's your father? Where's the horse? On an ocean or a beach full of casualties. You start to sprint only to realize that your right arm is heavy. And as you look down at your shoulder, you realize that it is badly wounded. You go to pull off what's left of the shirt, and you kind of pull it down, and your shirt's in tatters. And now that you've opened it, your armor cut away, you see the wound in your stomach, you see the wound in your chest, but the wound that's in your shoulder runs from the top of the shoulder near the clavicle down your arm all the way down to your forearm. It is a 2-inch wide gash that is at least 1.5 inches deep. And as you're looking at it, you're seeing the insides of your arm, you're seeing muscle tissue, you're seeing bone and ligaments. Then you see that the skin on either side of this open wound is reaching for the opposite end. Almost like your boot laces, it is connecting and slowly starting to close itself organically. No pain, no itchiness. I need you to make, you guessed it, wisdom saving throw. Bow, 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 bow. Nice. You're in shock. You've been traumatized. You have survived a war. And this doesn't matter. What matters is where's Dad.
I think he takes a quick moment, like watching it in horror, and he goes, well, Ma always said I was a fast healer, but I don't think Pa would. Pa. And he just runs off again.
As you run, you slowly start to get a little bit of movement. Your arm is still very much dead in all intents and purposes. You go and you look for your dad. The only thing you find is a belt. And attached to that belt is a dagger, still in its holster, still in its sheath. And there you see the family crest. And as you go to pick it up, covered in sand and blood, you can see that the belt buckle itself was broken, probably broken as he was ripped off his horse. Your mind races. And this is actually the first time you've ever seen your family crest in person. Your father was such a good farmer. Only once every few years would he go away on trips to the Lafayette Kingdom. Farming families shouldn't have a family crest like this. And that this one has a sense of familiarity to it because it's your family. Putting you on the spot, Leon Le Lion, can you tell us what your family crest looks like?
That's so rude. I didn't have... What?
What would it look like?
I'm just gonna look up family crest for a name that I know. How about that?
Anytime you need, just pass it to me. I got you.
Don't do that. Don't
No,
do that. Don't do that.
It'll be
Please
noble.
do it.
Not a good idea.
It'll
Please
be.
do
No. Don't.
It'll have like pizzazz. I think
What if
that's
it was that
hip.
feather thing that was on his tunic?
That
In the picture.
is actually a religious symbol of the Lafayette Kingdom. That is not a family crest.
Well, today I learned many things,
We're gonna learn you
but
some more
not what
too.
his family crest looked like. So come on, get to it. Jesus.
I was fully expecting you to just lift up a paper and have it on there.
I don't know. I wasn't prepared. I didn't think of anything.
Oh no!
Just have this professional illustration done.
How about this? Think about it over some drinks.
Oh, I had one.
Oh,
I actually had.
yeah. No, you in the back. Go ahead.
Drink?
Raise your hand.
On drink?
I think it is probably silver, like silver filigree border that is. Not only should farmers not necessarily usually have a family crest, but it definitely shouldn't be with as ornate of filigree as this one is, with a oval shield on the front, vertically oriented, split into 4 colors. On the oblique, it's 2 that are black, 2 that are gold, and in the middle, don't say black and white because I was about to say gold again, and then you couldn't see the design. Black and white, and then on the front, much like in a lot of medieval crests, there's like the lion going like that, but it's an owl bear.
Oh, what's an owlbear? Just kidding.
Ooh.
I'm a special bear.
It's a special bear. Yeah, you wouldn't get it.
We owl know what an owl bear is. Get it all? We all know.
Is
But
this
we
guy?
Hey.
Terrible.
You-
Zero
Leon
out of
gets it.
10.
I take it back.
0 out of
No,
10.
Wait, is it unbearable?
I think
You
Carl's a good guy.
actually die of your wounds.
Barely.
They're so bad. They open back up. The skin says never mind.
Psych.
I'll be back next week with my new character.
Yes. Thanks for watching. Now, you don't snap out of your flashback as nice and neat as everyone else. You snap out of it, Camille, with the sound and feeling of a frying pan against your back shoulder blade. And with the heavy thud, you could see the 75-year, we don't care how old she is. She is a female hill dwarf, and her name is Ulfar Ironhilt, and she is one of the owners of the Special Bear. And she says, Camille, young lad, how many times do I have to tell you? When you're working around the kitchen, we have to stay on schedule. The butcher's going to be here any second with all the meat, and guess who's going to be cooking that meat? That be you.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry. That's my bad shoulder, though. Yeah, sorry.
Just then, you see Savvy walk into the inn from the back. And Savvy, you see this, and you guys know each other. You have been working together and meeting at the tavern for at least a few 10-day. How you all got here is your story to tell, but I will say you do know each other. And this will be the first interaction as Savvy, you get to see Camille get beat up on inside of this inn.
I think that Savvy is still just not in a great mood because still has not had a chance to clean herself of the abundant pig blood. Like, it looks like a scene out of Carrie in here, and it's not flattering. Not good for the skin. The worst. I'm not a fan. And this is every night, so there are some other more pressing needs. So I think that it's one of those moments that's kind of a hold up hands and again, just still, there was an apron, but the apron only protected a part.
Yeah.
And there's blood everywhere. That's not great. It's the worst.
It's worth noting that even while getting the tongue lashing that he's receiving from his employer, every time Savvy walks in, just covered in blood, does not matter how long that we've been here and I've seen you do this, Camille always reacts with like a, oh yeah.
like a puppy. You just kind of expect it.
Yeah.
So as you are both in the kitchen, and what I'll do is I will move you to that map. He drops the food, the meat on the table, and you are ushered to quickly clean it. Savvy, seeing that your job is done and you can go wash up, you make your way through the tavern into the main room where everyone has been meeting for the last every night. This is what you do in Bearspire. And let me just tell you that Bearspire is a rich town. Let me actually give you a little bit of some learning here, specifically you, Savvy. This is Morduk Valley. To the northeast of the Myrian Peaks is where the great dwarves of Stodia Hall mine for riches, for ore, and where they smith the world's finest armor and weapons. Now, dwarves being dwarves, they don't care so much for the trade and for interacting with other races and other people. So what they do is they take their wares to Greenville. And from Greenville, you will find trails. The first trail between Greenville will take us to Brittle Hollow, where Hem is from. Hi, Hem. And from there, if you continue on the trail, you will make your way all the way down to Bearspire. Bearspire is just far enough away from the central trading route that is Strathmore and Brittle Hollow through the Fothoid Forest that no one really ever comes here as a passerby. People come here to retire. You have the Wellrail River that from the northern crystalline depths is always freezing and fresh. As a matter of fact, during the winter, most of the river is frozen. During the summer, you'll see that the Windwood Forest, just north of Bearspire, is farmed and lumbered, and a lot of the logs are pushed down Wellrail River past Bearspire down to the Great Fall Loch. And the Fall Loch is the main body of water that is fresh that connects to the Vita River that essentially takes you down south to Vibrigia, the main port out of this area. You guys are right here in this. Well, actually, you're over here. All savvy.
Yep.
See
Bearspire.
what you did there.
Thank you. Bearspire is a town of actually a pretty big population. You're currently at the Special Bear Inn, and the ranch is to the north, the Borealis Ranch. The general store is here, where our tinkerer, Mercy, works. The farms are to the west. It's a beautiful city. Back to the inn. You should see your tokens. Currently, Savvy, I will move you back into the main bar where you find your friends. And shortly after your work, Camille, you're off the hook. And with a gentle nudge as she rubs your shoulder, Ulfar says, "All right, my lad. The party's all here. Go have your drinks. You know the rules. The first two are on us. Go on, lad."
Generous as ever.
I think as Camille approaches, the Savvy's just gonna share that kind of understanding and sympathetic, like grimace almost, of like, rough night.
Maybe we'll
He
just
was
kinda make
in
that
a
clear.
mood.
They're
What's with the mood?
always in a mood.
Aren't they, G?
So what's got them all in a huff this time?
Does it take much? Honestly?
I'd love
Nice.
to tell you,
There's
but I
not-
kind of zoned out all day.
Aye, yeah, that you do, lad. That you do.
I hear
Right
Trauma
on.
does that.
What?
Trauma.
Like with a hammer? Or
Right, I need to put that hammer away. I put the hammer that I accidentally took in one of my pockets. Like I gotta take that back.
did I tell you about leaving your tools on the table while we're drinking? It's unsanitary.
As I mean, technically it's not my tool, but I didn't realize I took it. It's fine.
Today.
If you didn't realize you took it, how do you know you took it? Maybe you always had it.
Because this is my hammer. See, I've got a little signal. I got a little signet on here that claims that it's mine. This hammer is a different hammer.
Well, it looks like you have
Awesome.
2 hammers now. How
do.
fortunate.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble again. So
So where'd you
Wow.
take that one from? Nah, in fact, don't tell me. It's better I don't know.
that's fair. It's Gamal's. I'll tell you anyway. It's fine. I'm gonna give it back. I'll see him tomorrow at work.
Robin, can you play something a bit more lively?
Yeah. Well, okay. So, I'm still learning this one. I've heard it's kind of a new one. It's kind of the hit new hotness called Wondrous Wall. I'm still learning, so like, please take it easy on me. He is playing a lute, and his pick is a button.
Perfect.
I like it.
Fantastic. I'm just gonna drink to that.
And I heard something about the first 2 drinks are free. Robin has both drinks. He has both of them.
Okay, fair. Robin drinks. 2 at a time.
Yeah, one and then the other.
And you guys will, at this point, you could talk about your day, but your day is pretty mundane. You know, you go to work and you come here. as far as why you're here, that's a question from DM to you. Why are you all in Bearspire? Nose goes.
Between me and God.
You and the gods.
And the gods.
I'll just jump right in.
Because it was narratively helpful, a good answer.
I think so. I think
On page 3, the script told me to be in Bearspire.
It-
And,
if you're on the railroad, here you be.
Well, okay, so I think Savvy's here mostly as a way stop, and she came here because, frankly, there are hills nearby and mountains even closer. And for months now, Savvy has felt this desire to find herself nearer to the high places of the world. So I was just drawn to her. By always, I mean as of 6 months ago. 7 months ago, maybe.
And you have found that the people of Bearspire really appreciate everything that you've done for them. There haven't been any fights. There hasn't been any need for the guard to arrest anyone. It's almost like time stops here. It is just peaceful. And considering some of your backgrounds, it is oddly peaceful.
Robin appreciates the peace as one of the town guard, somehow talking himself into that job.
Yeah.
That's the prevention of crime. He just puts them into submission with his stories.
Of course you are. Of course you are.
He has a little helmet, and he doesn't wear any other armor. He just wears the helmet.
It's got the nose piece that covers all the way down the middle of your nose.
And he wears it backwards because he doesn't like it.
Yeah, like a true biker. You actually notice too that there are no wagons or caravans from Stodio Hall, vice versa. So a lot of what you do on your patrol is throw rocks in the river, lift up logs and look underneath them, tell countless stories. The guards that you work with love hearing your stories, and once you get going, they won't stop you. And the person who runs the stockades and essentially the prison here goes by the name of Naleli Oriston. I'll post it for you in chat because that's a doozy.
While you're posting that, I'm just telling the group about my day. I'm like, I skipped a rock like 4 times. New record. I also looked under 3 logs. One of them had worms under it. It was pretty cool.
You can't call it skipping a rock if you didn't skip it on water.
Well, I mean, yeah, I skipped it across the road. And it skipped 4 times on dirt. I feel like that's more impressive. Anyone can skip 4 times on water.
Actually,
Hey.
no.
I think it's the other way around.
You might have it right there. But it was a pretty big rock. And it was shiny. So,
What type of shiny rock? What can you
Well,
tell me about this rock? And where was it
I
last?
put it on the table. It looked like this.
Don't talk about the rocks with him. We have been over this every time. Every night. Just
Well,
like the
no.
night before and the
Well,
night before.
I
It's
mean,
every
hear me out.
night.
Hear me
It's
out.
always like
Hear
this.
me out on
Go
this.
Find something worth keeping. This
Hear
might
me
be
out
the
on
next-
this.
Look at that.
See, here's the deal. Rocks are like buttons of the natural world.
Also not worth collecting.
No, they're
I got you
definitely
another
worth
button.
collecting. Hey, no, can I get your hammer? The extra one. Gotta test it.
Tested on what? What are we testing? I like testing
Well,
things.
I gotta test it to see if there's any alchemical metals or other things of that nature.
Oh, I've already done that.
You
I'm not
tested
very
as
good
well?
at tests.
It's just
You just
it's
stay there.
I think Savvy goes to get herself a very strong another drink. Let's say 3 more strong drinks.
Okay.
Tapping into resources that she often doesn't need to, but tonight feels like a doozy, doesn't it?
Listen, I don't mean to be that guy, but I do like looking at these rocks, and I do enjoy having you test them all before I'm able to even look at them.
you want to break the rock.
No, well, yes, but no. The thing I wanted to say is I'm getting just a little. The term is cabin fever, but as dwarves call it mining fever. I just need to get out a little bit, see the world, see the grander view. You know, I came here to try and find some adventure and to make something of my life, and I don't feel that here. It's too peaceful. I don't like it.
Peaceful can always be a good thing, but can also be a bad thing. I mean,
Ah,
something
screw
else could be
this.
hiding on the surface.
Will breaking a rock solve that problem for you?
It'll certainly help.
Well, I
Yeah.
was gonna put it in my collection, but if it'll help you by breaking it, by all means.
Here, you could have this button instead. Give me the rock.
All right. I would like to break the rock.
Okay.
And 1, 2, 3 drinks appear in front of Savvy.
How are you trying to break this rock?
Oh, I'm taking her hammer and hitting it real hard.
I give him my actual hammer because my hammer is actually more fortified, so it's not gonna break.
And before the hammer strikes the rock, Savvy, as though this has happened before 1,000 times, grabs the drinks and picks them up from the table.
You're gonna hear a very angry hill dwarf say, "No, you're fucking not going to do that." As you see the owner of the inn, the one who gives you 2 drinks on the house, as Leary says, "No,
Out, just on the floor then. As I
No.
break the rock.
no, not in the latrine, not upstairs, outside, out."
Leary, I respect your desire for us not to harm your tavern. That's fair. And I get up and I walk over there, and I'm gonna start talking, and I'm gonna start saying things, and I'm gonna start walking, and I'm gonna get her to walk with me. Conveniently,
He.
not looking at the rock anymore.
Okay. Okay.
I will smash this rock.
Okay. The warning has been sent. You go to distract.
Is this just? I just want to note: is this the tone that we're setting for the game? She said you can smash it, just do it outside, and we are going to great
I mean,
lengths to
we
smash
can-
it inside
I-
anyway.
I mean,
No, I'll take it outside. She's a nice lady who gives us plenty of drinks.
Mercy was
I'll be
already heading
good.
outside,
good.
still holding her mug of ale.
Okay.
All right, respect the establishment. Come on.
I cut off mid sentence and I go, "Oh, they're gonna go smash a rock. I'll be right back," and I sprint outside.
Hey, Savvy, you want to play a drinking game?
Yes. Absolutely. She is going to slide one of the 3 drinks over to him.
1 drink for every strike it takes before he breaks the rock.
That I actually
Oh.
want to play this game too.
Yes. Yes.
Here's what I'll say to that. Only because, yeah, sure, get drunk. You know, the night is young, right? What's the worst that could happen?
I don't like that statement from you.
What we're
Spend
gonna
all
do?
your spell slots. Use all your abilities. We
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah,
Nothing's coming up.
What we're gonna do now is we are actually going to take our first break. Here at 30 past the hour. Guys, 2 hours just flew by. So good first half. We actually have 2 of our crew that are not on the cast that are going to host our intermission show, while our cast and myself take a 15-minute break. We'll come back at 45 past the hour. But before we do, I wanted to take just a brief moment and first of all, thank the players, the cast. Good job, guys. That was awesome. Thanks for everything you've done over the last 4 months as we got ready for this. In the next 4 minutes, I just want to introduce you guys to our viewers. And I'm going to start on my top left, which is Lightning Hikaru.
That's me.
That's you. Lightning Hikaru and I have played one campaign for quite some time. It was The Ghost of Saltmarsh, and it was so much fun and so emotional. And I just love to have her on the show. So thank you, Lightning Hikaru, for playing Mercy the Artificer.
I'm excited.
On my other side, this side, is Default Player, who's playing our lovable old human bard. Default Player and I used to work together at the same job, and one day he invited me over to watch him play D&D and meet his table, and I hadn't really played much, but I got to see what D&D was like in person. And we've been great friends ever since and have played multiple campaigns together. And thank you, Default Player, for being here. On my bottom right, we have Toxin playing our Dwarven Ranger. And Toxin, you are badass. Everyone freaks out on the first kill. Toxin and I actually... we used to be neighbors, and it's just one of those things in D&D where you happen to mention D&D, and then someone's like, I also am into that, and then we just realize how nerdy we were. We were both DMs, and he has joined my Friday table and was a guest player and just did phenomenally, and has done more for this show besides just being a cast member. He's helped with organizing it, getting it off the ground, so... thank you, Toxin.
Hey, thanks.
Of course. Directly below me, we have Leon Le Lion. And I think of all the relationships, he is the youngest in our relationships. I've only met him briefly as he played in another campaign where I was a player with another good friend. And he played this character, this Medusa character, spoiler alert, that kind of played a 300 character, and every word that came out of Leon's mouth was gold, and I just ate it up. So thank you for joining us, Leon Le Lion.
Thrilled to be here. Also, PSA, don't eat gold.
Don't eat it.
Wasn't
Wise
planning
words.
But they're putting it on donuts and bagels and stuff all over the place.
I hate that so much.
And then last but certainly not least, down to this corner, we have Giggles, Giggle Cheeks. Same kind of story. We worked together. We overheard each other talking about D&D, and I invited him to the table, and that was probably 5 years ago. What's really special about Giggles is he is a genius when it comes to gameplay, when it comes to literature and writing and character building and combat encounters and everything that has to do with gaming, and made it very comfortable for me to explore learning how to become a DM and how to play the game as a DM, and has been a yes and kind of player where if I throw it at him, he'll make it work. So thank you, Giggles, for playing with us.
I'm thrilled.
Okay. With that, ladies and gents, we are going to go into our halftime show. So go ahead and take your breaks, and don't turn off your cameras. You don't need to. I will be back in 15. Cheers. Hello, Hayden.
Hello.
Hello, Hayden. Soren, are you with us?
Yes.
We're with you.
Okay. What'd you think of our first half of
Oh
our
my
first show?
God.
I think
God.
absolutely fabulous.
Good. So I'm going to mute and I'm going to step away. I'll be back in 14 minutes, but I wanted to introduce you all to our show. For those of you who are sticking around for the intermission, Hayden is a very good friend of mine, and I have been playing with them for a few months now, but we have become very good friends, and they are very special to me, as is Soren. We play other games besides D&D together. We play Dead by Daylight, which I love, and other spooky games. And they have been really incredible supporters of the show, and every intermission belongs to them. So without further ado, I'm going to step away, take my headset off. Thank you so much, guys. We'll be back in 15.
Alrighty, so hello everyone. We want to welcome you all to our first ever gaming-related intermission show. I'm your host Soren, and this is my co-host Hayden. Hayden, say hello.
Hello there.
So this is our show within a show. We wanted to start with some brief introductions of myself, Hayden, and some of the cast and crew who all came together over the last 4 months to make this show a reality. So to start off, my name is Soren. Though I did dabble in high school, I've officially been playing D&D for almost a full year now. I will be a moderator as well as part of the intermission cast this season. As part of our first episode, to help you get more acquainted with the cast and crew, I've tasked them all with sharing a fun fact about themselves or a hobby that they enjoy. So one fun fact about me is that in the summer, I have the amazing opportunity of acting as a cast member in a local Renaissance fair. These fairs are so much fun. If you haven't had the opportunity to go to one, I highly recommend finding one in your area. So I'm here today with Hayden. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, as you have said, my name is Hayden. I have very little experience in D&D, but I am so excited for this stream and learning from everyone. Monk and Soren have introduced me to D&D fairly recently, like Monk said, and I am loving everything that I'm learning, every story that is being told. I'm surrounded by so much experience, I'm sure I will catch on quickly. Another thing about me, my favorite hobby is baking. My favorite thing to bake is croissants. Why? Because, well, I like to torture myself a little. But that's enough about us. Let's meet the other cast and crew.
Awesome. So the first person we have on our cast and crew is Junior Monk, also known as Monk. He's the GM and producer. He's also one of the writers, an encounter and puzzle creator, the set designer and animator, the one who animated our intro sequence. And he's also a business developer. Monk's fun fact is that he doesn't like sweets. I don't have a sweet tooth, I have a fat tooth, Monk says.
I don't blame him. Meats are always better than sweets.
That's true. I can always go for something savory.
Now on to Default Player. He is a part of our lead cast for this season of Gaming Related. When asked about a hobby, Default says, I like board games. I own, over 80 at this point. Not sure on the exact count. I like board games so much that I read rule books for fun. If there was a game that I think looks cool, I will read the rules, even if I don't intend to buy it. We know who to go. Oh, sorry.
No, you're totally fine. Go for it.
Well, I guess we know who to go to for board games.
Right? Alright, next up we have Lightning Hikaru. So she is a writer and part of our lead cast. An interesting thing about Hikaru is that she goes to the Renaissance Fair at least once a year. Ren Fair buddies, I love it. Each year she buys herself a metal rose. She only has 5 so far, but she'd love to have a vase full of them eventually.
Oh.
It is so awesome.
Leon Lee Lyon is a part of our lead cast this year. For his fun fact, Leon shared that he is addicted to buying unpainted D&D figures. Even though he has several half completed, I'm sure many of you can relate to this, Leon also provided us with a bonus fun fact. One of his teeth is fake, but he'll never tell which one. What a mystery. We will never
know. How? I wonder which one it is. I mean, is it a molar? Is it a canine? Is it a front tooth?
Ooh, I don't want to know. Personally.
Okay, hold on. If anybody is here, chat. What do you think? Do you think it's a molar? Do you think it's a front tooth? Canine? What's your best guess? Will he ever tell us? That is the question.
I bet he lost it to an apple.
An apple. Ooh.
Yeah. I say it's a front tooth.
A front tooth. Lost by an apple. Alright. We will move on to Toxin. Toxin is a lead cast member, writer, graphics artist, and a business developer. Something you may not know about Toxin is that he has run 5 to 6 marathons, his first being when he was only 14 years old.
Wow. That is dedication.
Right? I mean, that is pretty amazing. I can't even run a mile straight without catching my breath, so I mean, props right there.
Running around at work already makes me tired. Doing marathons too, oof, that would kill me. Now
I just sorry to interrupt you, Hayden. We have a response here from Mr. Mini Mopsy. Wait, Leon has teeth? Wild.
I know, isn't it?
I know. Crazy, right?
Shocking. Oh my gosh. Next we have Giggle Cheeks, who many know as Giggles, is a lead cast member as well. When asked about his interests, he said, "When I say I like metal music, I really like extreme metal music. I listen to an average of 10 to 15 new albums a week, throwing my favorites into a playlist that usually ends up being like 120 to 150 deep. I then stack rank the best among them and make a top 10 list." Oof.
Dang.
That's a commitment.
Right. Oh my goodness. You better have like some music archives in there. Oh.
You better have a ear doctor, because...
Right? If you need metal music recommendations, definitely hit up Giggles. Moving on to Ransom Pig. So Pig is a writer, a puzzle and encounter creator, and a graphic designer. Pig's fun fact might surprise you. He has seen Jurassic Park over 100 times.
Holy moly.
Yes. Wow. I mean, I bet he could quote it.
Are you reading the chat right now?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Giggles has insane tinnitus. That is fantastic. It's not, but an occupational hazard indeed. Oh boy.
Next we have Constantine. Am I saying that correctly, Soren?
Yes.
Perfect. Constantine is a writer and a business developer for gaming related. When asked about a hobby, he said, "I collect books like other people collect fine wine. I don't consume them indiscriminately. I keep them ready for the right timing and mood." Whew. Well, I want to know what might be their favorite book.
I know. I wonder if they are here. Constantine, if you are here, we would love to know what your favorite book is. It can be the one you're reading now or something you've read in the past. It would be awesome to know.
Ransom Pig is in the chat. He says he could put an entire movie of Jurassic Park. Wow.
Oh my goodness. Now, that is really impressive.
Do you think I could pay him to watch the B movie over and over to where he can recite it on command?
Oh my goodness. Why the B movie?
Because why not?
Oh my goodness. You need to pay him when you have.
Why not?
Why not the B?
You like jazz?
You like jazz?
Oh my gosh. Can we please fill the comments now with quotes from the B movie? Just
oh
for
my gosh.
Please, please, please.
Yes, please share with us your favorite B-movie quotes. That would be fantastic.
Mrs. Toxin says, unfortunately, I can probably recite the B movie. Sad emoji.
Gosh.
Do it.
Unfortunately. What do you mean, unfortunately? It's fantastic.
No.
Oh, sorry. I'm helping the beast to the human race.
Barry, why don't you use the stairs? Your father paid good money for those.
Oh my god.
Oh, this is great. This is great.
Oh,
We
this is
start
fabulous.
the it will keep going.
Yes. Oh, embrace the chaos. I love it.
Can
Oh my goodness.
we get some answers from the chat? Who are you loving most? What are you loving? And like, tell us what you love about this stream.
I did see some interest earlier in Robin. We have a new hashtag going, protect Robin. Hashtag protect Robin out here. I think that's fabulous. Robin is very dear to our hearts. Yes.
What did Lightning Hikaru say? It's on. No, it's not on command. She said something really funny about Robin and fighting Carl.
Oh boy. We'll have to go back through and
It's on
take that
site.
as a clip for TikTok for sure.
It's on site with Carl. Oh my god. We can't say Carl. It's Carl.
Carl.
Oh my. Oh my gosh.
Amazing. So we are probably going to start wrapping up our 15 minutes here. We want to take a moment to recognize those who popped in chat so far today and the followers gained so far in our first episode of Gaming Related.
Please forgive us if we pronounce a name incorrectly. We will try our best to get them right, but I cannot make any promises. First up, we have Mr. Mini Mopsy,
Then Roddy G 43,
Nevermore 6669,
Cuccios West,
Kipo Turp,
Soft Brambles,
Sir Mogars,
Luna Bear 99,
Luno Bear, BBT Brotox,
Jalik Matar or Jalek Matar,
T Dollar Switch, Twitch.
and Mrs. Toxin.
Thank you all so much for your interest and support in our project. We are loving everything that's going on. We're loving interactions with you. Before we direct your attention back to Monk and the lead cast, don't forget to check out our social media platforms on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord for clips. Announcements and other fun content will be there too.
Awesome. Thank you all for joining Hayden and I on our first ever intermission show. We hope to see you next Wednesday at the same time. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the second half of Gaming Related.
We're back. We're back. So,
And
As-
scene. That was just a scene. It
and-
was all rehearsed.
see, back in the special bear, as you are having a good night, you get yelled at not to break stone on these beautiful wooden tables, because who would be dumb enough to do that? And I'm glad you guys took it outside. You spend the next few hours winding down, and as the last calls start to come, suddenly you are approached with a yell. And Savvy, you recognize who's yelling, as into the inn comes Tien, your boss, the person who runs the Borealis Ranch to the north. And he looks and he goes, "You, Savvy, I need your help. The horses. They've been spooked. They jumped the fence." And then shortly after he comes in, you see his son come in shortly after him, just heaving. You could tell they sprinted all the way from the Borealis Ranch as Hamidi comes in as well. And these two that run the Borealis Ranch to the north are... they are dark-skinned. They're human. They have white markings on their skin that they put intentionally every morning as some kind of ritual of something that they believe in. And it's a mixture of goat milk with some dirt and some powder that they essentially use, maybe for sunscreen, maybe for blocking the sun's rays, but regardless, it's tribal in nature. They both have, Tien, the father, has an afro that is cleaned and kind of pushed backwards. His son, Hamidi, is got braids that his father braided himself. They don't have a mother, and they don't talk about it. And they are very, very hard workers. And one of the things that immediately tips you off, Savvy, is that Tien doesn't ever really get spooked, and his horses are very, very well trained. And there they stand at the doorway.
Savvy, just looking forward to the moment of starting an end to consciousness tonight, finds that moment snatched away, looks over to Camille. We will have to wait. I will see what this is about.
You want a hand, or you just gonna...
If you don't want to get started, you know what? Yeah, come on. Unless you want to break a rock, you can break a rock too.
This seems a little more pressing.
But what about our game, our drinking game? We do this every night.
If there's one thing I learned growing up, it was never handle a horse while drunk.
I've never handled a horse.
Never ridden one.
Easily
I've
butchered.
only handled a horse while drunk.
Come on, let's go.
All right.
Now,
Come to watch.
I need Robin and Hamish. How do I pronounce your name, sir?
Just call me Ham.
Is it
Ham.
Hamish?
See, I say Ham, but he's not saying Ham.
Hamish. It's Hamish.
Ham.
It's not hamish, as in like a ham.
Oh no, you butchered
Gotta
the
roll
name.
your R's.
Hamish.
Hamish. Okay. Ham.
Ham.
Perception checks, please.
Did you say Robin? Does the perception
Yes,
check as well?
Robin and Ham.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. As they're running and they stop to yell, and they're kind of dry heaving from the sprint, and you could see the fear in their eyes. You two notice, a lot like Jurassic Park, shout out to Pig, that the ground itself starts to shake, but it's not an earthquake so much as it's a rumble, and then it stops, and then another rumble, and then it stops, and then another rumble. And as you look down at your own drinks, you see the ripples inside of your cup, because that scene's not copyrighted, damn it. And you could see that Tien kind of puts his hand up on the banister as he looks, and he says, That's it. What are you all doing?
I cast Disguise Self to look surprisingly similar to Jeff Goldblum, but legally distinct, and say, I got a bad feeling about this.
You have to say fantasy in front of it for it to be okay. Fantasy Jeff Goldblum.
Fantasy Jeff Goldblum.
I
Gold to
I
bloom.
got a bad fantasy feeling about
An
this.
amazing six pack. Got it. I'm
Oil.
already
Yeah.
there. I'm thinking. Okay, great.
Yeah. To make it fantasy, he's Jeff Gold to bloom.
Gosh, dang it.
And
Covered in
then
gold.
what happens?
I'm gonna run outside and see if I can't see what's going on.
It's gonna say following TN.
Okay. As you run outside, you notice that the birds are flying out of the forest to the north. And I am going to go to that map to show you. Now you'll see just north of the inn, towards the forest to the north, the birds are flying, and they are flying high, and it is a wave of them. You can't see the forest line because of where you're currently standing, but as soon as he sees that you're outside to see what's happening, another rumble, and then silence, and then another rumble, and you could see just tiny pebbles on the ground just slowly start to kind of roll over a little bit and just move a little bit. And then it stops. And for the most part, it's quiet and peaceful again, and nothing's going on.
Finally, something exciting. Who's with me, lads? Let's go.
But we were gonna smash a rock.
Screw your hip. Let's do it.
All right, I hobble on that same hip.
Will you tell us here, as I'm fixing the cameras here, is Robin, is he slow? How does Robin move?
Very Liam Nielsen in Taken 16.
Fantasy,
You know,
Taken.
Fantasy Taken. You know, in Taken 1, how sprinting,
Fantasy Taken.
looking, Fantasy Taken 1, sprinted really good. And then by like Fantasy Taken 2 and Fantasy Taken 3, it kind of became more of an old man sprint. That's me. Yeah, it's very much the old man sprint.
Okay, well, in that case, Tian and his son Hamidi start to book it back. And you guys are running with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Cheerio. As you are running, we are going to move to the ranch.
To the ranch.
And you should be able to see the ranch. And this is really just for your mind's eye. And hopefully everyone else can see that.
It looks like a quaint hidden valley.
And then what I'll also do is I'll probably put you guys actually on the map. How about that? Okay, so
Yeah, that's not ominous.
right. All right. And Robin makes it. He's in the rear. Is everyone on this map? Who are we missing? Mercy? No, Mercy's there. Camille?
There I am.
Okay, so you are running towards the ranch, and the Borealis Ranch itself is almost an ecosystem, and the way that Tian and his son Hamidi have run this ranch, it is self-sustaining. There's a garden, there's a well, there is a home, there's the barn. It is fenced in. He has his own guard posts. And Savvy, you've seen this. They protect themselves with spears and bows and arrows. And they are always barefoot and very much in tune with the land. In your last few months that you've been working here, you have also noticed that they see the woods to the north. The Windwood Forest they follow with trepidation. They are never there at night. They are good of marking their trails as they go in. And it's not that they're scared of it, it's more so a superstition. As you get there, you can see that the horses are tied and they are currently running around their loft and the posts, and you can see that they're starting to tangle themselves up. Hamidia immediately grabs a very long bamboo stick with a rope on the end and chases towards the horse. And you see him swiftly dive underneath one of the kicks of this horse that is panicking. And then you start to see the roof begin to kind of collapse a little bit and straw begin to fall as you feel the tremor. Woof. Woof. And then it stops.
I'm sure it's fine. This is fine.
Hamidi ends up stopping the horse and getting it to calm down. He cuts the rope and he starts to move it away. And then that's when Tien looks at you and says, "We lost 3 of our best. They went into the Windwood Forest. Please, bring them back. Hamidi and I will take care of these horses, but those, bring them back, please." What are you all doing?
It being what exactly?
Yeah. Who's they?
They being the horses that have escaped?
No, you said they took the horses into the woods.
I thought he said it took the horses.
Oh.
I thought
Let's
he
just leave
said
that
when
in.
took the horses.
No, actually, he said
He
who
takes
took the horses. I see what you're doing there.
And I just wanted to.
I see what you're
I
doing
just
there, and I
wanted to
don't like
know
it.
how much we will get paid to get the horses.
I'm going into the woods.
Really?
Though I
Is
don't...
this not not fall into the qualification of hazard pay, overtime? Do I not have workers' rights? Have I not effectively lobbied for myself as an employee? This seems like a gross negligence on the part of my employer, and I expect to be compensated.
He looks at you.
Sorry.
He looks at you and he says, "You're not wrong, Elf. The value of these horses is paramount for this family. You will be paid handsomely. I will give you 5 gold per horse. Bring them back."
Hey,
Fantasy Wakanda forever. And he is offering you 5 gold apiece if you can bring them back.
A piece meaning per person or per horse?
Per horse.
Can't wait for Camille and Ham to come back with the horses while this negotiation.
Yeah, you have already gone.
you won't come back.
For those of you who did go into the woods without negotiating, that's too bad for you, because now you're going to be 5 gold less richer.
Dang it.
But no, Ham and whoever followed you, if you could please roll us a let's do a survival check.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That was adorable. Absolutely adorable. Okay, so Ham, you can very quickly see the trail, and the trail is indeed of horses and horse hooves. With the 22, you also notice that there are no other tracks. There are no footprints. There's no blood. It is just hooves of the horses that have fled, spooked by the tremor. You also see that they have broken a lot of branches on their way, and this is a very easy trail to see. Now, the Windwood Forest, and you have hunted in the forest. It's not so much that the forest itself is alive. It is just really, really thick. And you can get lost in it very quickly. There are some patches of the Windwood Forest where you won't be able to see the sun, for it is that bright.
Or dense.
Or, yeah, that's what I meant, dense.
Alright, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, Camille. But I think they got spooked by the tremors. I'm not sure what entirely caused that. But they went this way. On the plus
Then
side,
that way we go.
I don't think we're going to be running into any trouble. Doesn't look
Now
like anything dragged them.
Now, I'm no woodsman, but the rumbling would kind of indicate the alternative, would it not?
While I do agree, I don't see any sign of what made such rumblings. So I'm left to believe it to be an earthquake or something.
Well, great. Let's go get them horses then.
I agree. So, and we start running.
Okay. So, as you're running...
Mercy was like halfway, like she had paused for the other half of the group, then also saw that two were going ahead, so was like, wait for me. So is like half between. It's like, I'm coming too.
Yeah. Okay, so as you all take off, Robin and Savvy, what are you two doing?
Well, now that we've secured a deal, I'm gonna move, and because Savvy's quicker than probably the stubby legs of a dwarf, we're gonna catch up, I bet, pretty quickly.
Okay, and Robin, you see that the forest is probably about 200 yards away. That's a run. And off you go.
Yeah. I follow along. Yeah.
Okay. You actually don't jump the fence like everyone else. You actually go to the gate, you open it, and then you turn around and you close it, and then you take off.
Yeah. I do very
Savvy does not
respectfully
wait.
close. I close
Doesn't
the
wait.
gate.
Okay. So, as you close the gate, and the party's a little bit split here, naturally, I am going to put you all on the map. You're on the south side of the map, and I need to know if you all have vision. Can you see
Yes.
the map?
I can see it. Yep.
Okay, great. Now, you'll notice a glowing white fairy right there. That is our fly on the wall. It's magical in nature because the characters can't see it. That is so that our viewers can see what's going on. So the fly on the wall will be following you, almost like a GoPro camera. Now, you see that in the woods there are huge rocks, boulders, and you see these giant pines, and you can see that there are shrubbery and logs and twigs in this forest. You see that there is a lush carpet of grass between roots and vines, and it's not all just a walk in the park. You're gonna need to do some climbing and some scouting here. With the 22, you're able to know that you're on the right trail into the woods, but within 10 minutes, you are going to need to make another survival check, unless you want someone else to.
No, too stubborn.
12, not bad. Okay, so you're able to move up just slightly, and I'm going to move you for now, and everyone else can follow. But as Ham moves up, you could see he's looking down at the tracks, and you can either go straight through some dense woods, or you can turn right, and that's where the trail leads you. When you get to this point here, Camille, you see it first. As a matter of fact, you step into it. The rumble again happens from beneath your feet, and here it's almost like the earth itself is breathing. You feel your feet push up off the ground as if someone's pushing you from below, and suddenly the ground flattens out and you hear the sound of rocks falling, and as you look up, a rock has broken loose the size of a cooked turkey, Camille, because you're the cook. I need you both to make a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Camille, you push Ham out of the way, and as you push him out of the way, the rock falls on your shoulder. It's the bad one. And you will take 2 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall to the ground. And everyone else, you can see that this forest is dangerous. But the tremors stop, and you are yet again free to continue on the trail. Anything you guys are doing?
Camille.
My question.
Anyone noticing that the ground is shaking more?
Well, that just means we're getting closer. How's your shoulder
No, that's not what that means.
there? Isn't it?
I don't.
Having grown up,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say having grown up in not this forest but another forest, is this like a natural phenomenon that is normally familiar in this world? Is this something entirely foreign in this case? Does this seem like a natural occurrence? Does it seem like this is something that's been experienced before, even since Savvy's time in Bearspire, or is this wholly new territory?
You have experienced a tremor or an earthquake every now and then. You have seen or felt a fallen tree shake the ground. What makes this one different is that it is constant, rhythmic in nature, and is very unnatural. It's the rhythm that is unnatural. As a matter of fact, the rhythm itself comes in fours. Woof woof. Woof woof. Woof woof. And then the final one, and then it stops. The last one just dropped a rock on Camille. Camille, you get yourself back up to your feet. That's gonna bruise tomorrow.
Always does.
It's the same right shoulder. It's always the bad shoulder.
Same one.
For reference, are we assumed to all be gathered together? Have we been able to catch up? You mentioned we were traveling for about 10 minutes
Yeah.
or so.
At this point, Robin has caught up on the tail end. Yes.
Cool. Savvy will reach down and offer a hand to Camille to help him up.
Okay.
Take it.
Up you go. And
I'll keep going ahead.
okay.
And watch for rocks. We don't want to be squashed.
Yeah. You make your way up around the bend, and your party follows you. And at this point, Ham, they're giving you some space. You've become not the guinea pig, but you're the one that's just going to make sure everything's clear. And make an intelligence, just an intelligence check. Just flat intelligence.
All right.
And
it's so close.
you can do this
So
as well. You can do this as well, Mercy, and you'll do so with advantage.
Oh. Let me toggle my advantage. Just intelligence check.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Mercy.
The gods know it's meant to be.
It's almost like the tapping of a clock, the tapping of the mechanisms that everything has a pattern. The waves, the gallop of a horse, everything that you've ever tinkered on, even the candles themselves have a pattern, and you quickly have learned that pattern. And that pattern is 3 minutes of nothing, followed by 4 tremors on repeat. And you know that in exactly 1 minute, the 4 tremors will start up yet again.
I've calculated if if my calculations are correct, the tremors will start in a minute. We have 1 minute before they start again.
We don't need calculations. We gotta find these horses.
Well, hold on there, Buckaroo.
Holy shit.
It was more just in case. It was more to be cautious so that rocks don't fall from the sky again and hit Camille.
I
Camille
would like
sprints to the
point
most
out,
open spot possible, just farthest away from any wall.
I'd like to point out that Mercy did some pretty fine calculations, and I think we should pay attention. In a minute, Ham, you keep going ahead, but be careful in about a minute. Good eye. Good eye, Mercy.
Recognizing
I just
that
don't-
almost a minute has passed, Savvy will draw sword and shield
Okay.
just to be ready.
Okay.
I just don't buy this. I don't believe that you can calculate such nonsense.
I'm pretty smart. I should be able to do that.
Oh, I know you're smart.
The minute passes, and like clockwork, woo woo, woo woo, the ground starts to ripple this time. You see Camille with his hands spread out, almost like surfing a wave. He goes up, and then he comes down, and then it hits Savvy, then Hamish, then Robin, and then it stops again. And then you hear it, the sound of horses. And they are currently neighing fearfully just around the bend to the north. And you see one of them currently stomping his feet, or its feet rather, on the ground just between the little trail that they've created.
Well, you see, it's right there. Like I said, nothing to worry about. It's tremors.
I'm gonna shoulder up next to Mercy, and I'm gonna give a little nudge. I'm like, good job on the figuring out the minute thing. Very smart.
I'm concerned about the integrity of the ground.
Hey everyone, Mercy's concerned about the ground. Everyone
Well,
should
yeah,
pay
it
attention
just-
to the ground.
It just shook like a wave. Okay. I'm sorry.
That's-
It was wrong of me to doubt you.
That's okay. Most people do, and then figure out that they're wrong. There's a horse there. We should grab it before more tremors come. We've got
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
I got him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move towards the horse.
Good job, Camille. Watch out for the ground. And I wink.
Watch out for the ground. You know, and I go after the horses too.
Okay. One moment here.
Just waiting for the cavernous maw of something to swallow everything whole there.
Munch.
Because tell me that does not look like bait.
Nah. Everything's fine.
Nah,
It's
it's
just
fine.
earthquakes.
It's a horse.
It's
We're
a
paid to
horse,
find
yeah.
it.
It's just a horse standing quietly
Listen.
in the middle of a field during an earthquake. It's
Give
fine.
me-
It's fine. It's fine.
Give me one example of a campaign book that has a horse as bait.
Would you like
Um,
chronologically or alphabetically?
Yes.
Would you like them in color or black and white?
I've already written you a list in crayon.
Do you prefer 5e or can I go genre wide?
If I could refer to the very first starter set for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, page
Oh my God.
page 6, actually, you'll see that Toblin Stonehill's fucking horse is right there in the pathway.
Anyway,
Wow.
He's not wrong,
actually,
man.
It was
Where-
77.
Oh my god. Where did that come from?
shout out to Gundren Rockseeker.
Skull.
Amazing.
Shenanigans. Where did that voice come from? Anyway,
I don't know.
hold on. Something sneaky is happening.
Oh, what? What?
what?
Oh my god!
Okay.
Oh,
Now, Robin,
Oh.
are you trying to do that with subtlety, or are you just doing that?
Just doing it. It's not subtle. It's just doing it.
Okay. as you are all very
So I will say, subtle enough that anyone outside of the party won't notice it, because that kind of defeats the purpose. If somebody outside the party can see what Robin's doing, it defeats the distraction.
We'll make a perception check to see if you're alone.
That doesn't make me feel comforted.
You're always with
You are
friends,
not
Robin.
alone. That's Final Fantasy Michael Jackson. You're not.
Oh, yes.
You're not alone.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
There are horses. And there's your party. So Robin will cast a minor illusion about 30 feet behind you all. And it is of performers from the troupe doing somersaults. You all see it. And I call shenanigans because, anyway, that illusion is happening behind you all. And it's pretty freaking entertaining. So you can actually watch the performance if you want.
Everyone, this is Hans. He travels with me sometimes. Hans, do a flip. Hans does a flip.
Hans is so hot right now.
Oh, hot.
Okay. So, Camille, as you walk up to this horse, I need you to make an animal handling check.
I'm still not over the performers.
Yeah, you see Ham has actually said, hey, my job's done. Now he's going to go sit on a rock.
Well, I'm gonna go hold the reins if I can, but then I'm gonna watch for a bit.
Okay, you move up.
There we go.
All right.
Okay,
There we go.
you're
Oh.
able to
thanks so
calm
much.
this horse. And you can see it is sweating. And I don't know if you've ever seen a horse sweat, but this one is frothing at the mouth. And Camille, after you settle it, or rather, how do you settle this horse?
Classic horse girl scenario.
Can I be the
Just-
horse? Will you calm me down?
Whoa. Eventually, just like snout in hand, like.
Oh, like this?
It's misunderstood. Just misunderstood.
Perfect. Yep. They just don't get you, beautiful. They just don't get you. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. You calm the horse, and you can see, or rather hear now that you've calmed this one, the nays of more horses. But these horses they've actually made their way through the thicket. And as a matter of fact, you can see that they have broken branches and they've bloodied themselves. You see signs of hair and blood on the broken branches, and you can hear them just on the other side of the thicket to your northwest.
I'll go get those ones.
I'll follow. Hamish.
It looks like you got a thing here, Camille. Don't you worry.
She's real spooked. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I should hang on to her for a minute.
Oh, and the other ones aren't. They're just bloody. It's fine. It's fine.
Mercy, you hear, or you know, there's 10 seconds on the clock before the next rumblings are coming.
Come on, let's go get the horse.
Seconds.
Okay, in those 10 seconds, what do you all do?
I'm going for the horses.
Okay, so you go and you jump through the woods to get to the horses. Okay, you climb up onto the rock. You jump over onto the other side, and there you see the two horses, and they've kind of got themselves tangled up, but they are staying very close to each other. I need you to make an animal handling check, and you're gonna have disadvantage because they're bloodied, they're very scared, they're together, and the ground itself just starts rumbling.
Oh. Yeah, I hate to see
Yeah.
it.
There it is.
What does a nat 1 get me? My
Okay,
second one of the night.
yeah, let's get him out of the way so that your new character
Yeah.
next week
Just-
will
No.
have a better luck. Savvy, you see this. The horse rears and comes down on top of Ham, and Ham is pinned underneath the horse. Ham, you are going to take 4 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are now prone as these two horses are basically stomping on you. And the rest of you are steadying yourselves from the tremor that has just happened. And Camille, you're holding on to this horse. Here, or feeling the tremors in the ground shake again, your horse starts to stand. What do you do?
I would like to, as I see its like front hooves start to leave the ground, I want to try to hop onto her back.
Okay.
Just to try to put some weight against the like rearing back and try to just continue to comfort her.
Yeah, give me some acrobatics.
Oh boy. Let's go. All right.
Okay. You're not able to get on top of this horse because it's standing straight up. But what you are able to do is you are able to pull it back down to the ground, and with a few neighs, it calms just in time for the second and third tremor to roll through as Ham is on the ground. What are the rest of you doing in the back? Mercy and Robin.
I start to head towards Ham.
Okay. And you, Robin?
Oh no,
Oh.
that's not good. That's not
For
good.
son var det det for noget? Take that!
I'm gonna avoid the horse.
Okay.
Are they still just, even despite the tremor, like, he came up right as the first tremor was hitting.
Mhm.
Did the wolves, or not the wolves, they feel like wolves right now, to be honest with you.
Oh, good
Did
point.
the
good
horses
point.
just decide to continue to beat on his ass through the tremors?
No, they didn't. As a matter of fact, after he got stumped, he rolled out of it. They are still kind of freaking out, but they kind of cornered themselves against the rock. As the second, third, and fourth tremor finally stop, you now have 3 minutes of nothing. And Savvy, if you can position yourself where you want as you moved up, same thing for you, Mercy, as you move up. And you see there is a badly bruised Ham, as he's kind of hanging forward, taking just a hoof right to the middle of his back. Camille, you have your horse at this point steady, and now that it has an owner, someone keeping it calm, it starts to just breathe heavy, but it's with you.
Hey, I'm back. Oh, I'm back.
It's not going to get better just laying there.
It might,
It won't.
but it
It,
could.
it takes Mercy a minute to climb through the hedges.
Yeah.
It's Savvy
Help
again.
me
It's
up,
just like
Savvy.
looking. She's not willing to put herself anywhere closer to the horses, but she will offer a reluctant hand from the other side.
Oh, and I just like every labored moan to stand up, just really milking it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, that hurts. Remind me never to make fun of Robin again.
Did you see the rocks that they're by? Seemed really
Oh.
interesting.
I'll have to come back tomorrow, I think. Well, I can at least look at it. I don't know if I can carry it back, but I can at least look. Stupid horses. Why does anybody
Smash
ride
cut.
these blasted things?
Smash cut back to Robin picking up 3 really cool rocks and putting them in his pocket.
Buttons, you mean? No, you pick up
Buttons
3
has turned
rocks.
into rock collecting.
He
Camille.
tosses a 4th one aside, kind of like, nah, and tosses it.
Camille, you can see Robin picking up rocks, and you've done a very good job calming this very deadly beast of burden. And as you're looking at Robin, you feel a tug on the reins. And as you look back at the horse is now the same height as you, which is odd. And then you see that the horse is actually sinking, and it is sinking fast. And as you look down to see what it is sinking about,
What are you thinking about?
what are you thinking about? The ground itself opens into a 20 by 20 hole as a sinkhole happens.
Good thing I was 25 feet away. I was 20. I did say it earlier. I don't think anyone heard it, but I was 25 feet. 25 feet away.
Yep. I need you both to make dexterity saving throws.
Oh.
Can I help the horse?
I would like to give him disadvantage from the horse.
Oh.
The horse rolled as many as he has hooves.
Is it 3?
17? 17?
He rolled 3. This horse is lame.
I think he's pretty cool.
Okay. What happened? Damn it. Not you too, Leon. What happens next?
Yes, one of us.
You all fall, and the ground gives way, and you can feel roots from underneath these trees, and you start reaching for them. And Camille, you're able to grab one as you tumble, and very much like the labyrinth when Jennifer Connelly's falling down and the hands are carrying her down.
Fantasy Labyrinth.
Thank you, Fantasy Labyrinth and Fantasy Jennifer Connelly. Fantasy
and fantasy falling.
and fantasy hands. Sorry, bad metaphor. You are able to fall semi-gracefully. Robin, on the other hand, yeah, it's very much so like Humpty Dumpty. And you take a tumble, and you will take 3 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall into a very beautiful pit. The rest of you, the horse falls too. To be continued on what happens to
Does the horse grab one of the roots?
Yeah, with one of its 3 arms. Yes, it does.
It was a mimic. I knew it.
Meanwhile, up to the northwest, what are you friendly people doing?
Well, this is literally happening feet away. Like this is not like hidden knowledge. It's literally happening right there.
Yeah.
So I think that Savvy just doesn't give a shit about the horses anymore and decides that it's time to go back to where she came from. So Ham gets helped up a little bit, and then back she goes.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at? Aside from a 20 by 20 pit, like, is it just a literal vertical sinkhole? Is there slope? How does that look?
My pain is forgotten, and I'm with Savvy, and all my moaning and wailing is mysteriously gone.
Okay.
Mercy's struggling back on the rocks to try to get back, catch back up with the rest of the party.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put Camille and Robin, who is currently prone, and we'll put horse. We'll put the horse on the map as well.
We call him champion.
Yeah, we'll put C champion.
Fantasy champion.
Fantasy champion. As a matter of fact,
Fantasy champion. Get it?
As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna put you all on this map so that you're not in the dark here.
Metaphorically, literally, you're still in the dark.
Yeah, because it's nighttime.
Okay.
And you're in a pit. Underground.
We're in a pit.
All right. So you should all be able to look on the top right corner of this map.
Ooh.
Kind
It's a
of.
well-endowed map.
If it's out of focus, zoom out and zoom in. It's a very large map.
Yeah, it does appear that way.
Okay.
Huh.
Now, we're going to cut to Camille and Robin first. What you have found yourself, you have fallen into, looks otherworldly. There is blue mist that is seeping from this cave floor. You see thousands of mushrooms, and some of them are as big as a horse. And you can see that there are tiny blue wisps that are just kind of floating about. They look almost like lightning bugs, but they're floating into and out of the moss-covered stone. There are big boulders in the middle that are covered in moss. And to answer your question, this is a vertical drop. As a matter of fact, it's kind of concave, as in the hole itself looks like a big pottery bowl, and you're at the very small hole on the top. As you guys... Oh, sorry, go ahead. Okay. As you guys down here have landed, Robin landing face down and ass up, Camille, you see that the horse didn't land well. As a matter of fact, it took most of the fall directly to the face, and it is broken. Its neck is broken. It is now actually beyond lame. It's dead. I'm so sorry. First casualty. Actually, not the first. But you managed to let go of the roots as they don't go further any further down, and you land in a relatively cush, mossy ground. It smells sweet. What are you two doing?
I'll help Robin up first.
Oh, hey, thanks. Oh,
You all right there, friend? You looking like a pig in the mud.
well, that's kind of you, I think. He'll wipe off some of the mud.
You guys get back to your feet?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, I just need to stretch a little bit. I kind of scorpioned a little bit on the way down. I think I kicked the back of my own head. I almost swallowed my tongue, but I didn't.
That's good there, friend. You I'll sort of like turn around to the back of you and brush like gravel and dirt out of the back of your hair where you definitely kicked yourself in the head. It's like you're all right. You're all right.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Walk it off.
Yeah, I'll walk it off, but not too far. This place looks terrifying.
Any of y'all hear us up there?
Help!
So how far down is it?
Yeah.
It is a 30-foot drop, and the hole itself is continually collapsing in on itself as more of the ground loses the root and structure. You find yourself having to kind of backpedal a little bit so that you also don't fall.
Can we hear them?
You can, yeah. You can hear the horse.
Help! Help!
Are you guys okay?
Savvy, what do we do?
Savvy's already heading to a tree nearby and starting to, from the pack that's on her back, fishing out a length of rope that she's going to attempt to affix to one of the large stones that was ringing that little glade.
Okay. And you can tie the stone, the rope around the stone. And you can also tell that the stone itself, it goes underground. It's not just sitting on the ground, and it is very firm and stable. And you use about 10 feet of the rope to tie around the whole thing, and the rest you drop down with plenty of rope to spare. And the rope dangles below you.
All right. Savvy's going to climb down.
All right,
Okay.
I'm going with.
Okay.
Come on.
This seems dangerous. Okay.
So you all climb down this hole, and as you're looking up at the hole itself from when you came, you can see that now that there's no trees here, it's just open night sky, and you could see the stars and 2 of the moons, and you're also in this very vivid, otherworldly fungal jungle, and you're safe, except for the horse. The horse is not safe. I can't iterate enough. The horse is dead.
Oh, I can't fix that.
I butcher the horse.
The horse has never been safe. It is no longer in danger.
He just puts on his bloody apron.
Well,
What is this place?
I
Yeah, no.
don't know.
I've lived not too far from here my whole life. I've never seen anything like this.
Robin looks around and tries to tell if any of his many stories that he has heard tells of giant mushrooms underneath the ground, distant lands like this type of stuff.
Make a history check, senor.
History is my strong suit.
An 11
it's not
is not terrible.
It's not.
No. No, you have not.
I avert my eyes from the horse butchering. And
You now have 2 days of rations. It's horse meat.
A little chewy, a little tough.
Aren't we?
I throw a piece of advice their way. I hear those hooves make for good adhesive. And then I start
butchering the horse for real. Jesus.
I'll allow it.
And then
I'm
gonna start to look this direction, see if there's any signs of what's down this path, and any hint of what's to come.
I see.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna touch my bow distantly, like kind of reaching it out and tap
Yeah.
one of the mushrooms, see if it's real.
Not only is it real, it wiggles at you, and a bunch of spores shoot out in your face.
Ah, I said, "Hey."
And essentially you're glowing, but just the outline of your body.
Fascinating. Mercy's going to out of one of her pockets, just grabs a bottle, almost like a mason jar type thing, and
Yeah.
just puts one of the mushrooms inside. Gets her goggles on, and is like,
Yeah.
I could make. Oh, I got this. Oh, I have an idea.
Okay. So just put mushroom powder in your inventory. 1 bottle of mushroom powder. You all hear those rumblings again, except this time it doesn't sound like rumbling down under. It sounds more like tink, 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 and then it stops. And it is coming from essentially an opening, a tunnel that goes further into this place.
When inspecting the ground, I have discovered a remarkable set of tracks of the railroad variety, and they head into the cavern.
There's no railroad
so
down
I
here.
propose we follow them.
There is a cockroach you can follow, but it's not from this world. You will, however, see that throughout further down the tunnel, it kind of makes an L shape and kind of cuts off. It's kind of a turn, and you can't see beyond that, but you do notice that the grass and the foliage of this place kind of blends more into stone and less plant life as you make your way through the tunnel.
So I know we came here for horses, but can we explore here a little bit? We'll go back.
Mercy's
Promise.
like got her goggles on and is like hyper focused on like the mushrooms and is like writing stuff down in her notebook and is just she's there but not there. She's like, yes, more exploring.
Okay.
Come on.
I need marching orders.
I will say as well,
Robin
as
and
Camille,
back.
as Camille starts walking away, he'll look down at the horse. Rest in peace, fantasy champion.
Never forget.
I'll go second.
You died for a railroad.
Rest in spaghetti, never forgetty.
Okay, Ham, you're in the front.
All right.
All right. And behind you, Savvy and Camille, and then Mercy and Robin. You see that there are two very large and mossy boulders that are blocking the path. They're probably about 8 feet tall, but they're wide enough that you can't squeeze around them. You're going to have to climb over.
And the person behind me is Savvy, right?
That's
Mhm.
right.
All right, Savvy. Can you give me a boost? I'll pull you up. I'd have to.
I don't even think she's gonna tease him.
She's going to be cool.
Just this once.
All right.
Subversion of expectations.
Okay.
Wait, it'll be twice as funny when she makes fun of him next time.
100%.
As you're
Next time she's just gonna push her into the pit.
as you're lifting Hamish up and over,
Hamish.
you're gonna see an acrobat kind of twirling down the vines. You know how those people do with the ropes, where they wrap it around their hips and they're super sexy, and then they let go and they just twirl all the way down until they're inches from the ground. That's yeah. Robin's illusion is now with the party.
Come on, Hans. We're going exploring.
Get Hans out of here. He's messing up the way.
You make
Why does Hans keep getting here?
you make it up onto the top of the stone and it's very slippery. If you're not careful, you'll make your way the same as Fantasy Champion. But now it's an 8-foot drop onto some more rocks below that are mossy and spiky.
Before going down the other side, I of course stretch out my hand for Savvy to grab and try to pull her up.
And
course.
I think that Savvy would then return the favor as she steps up on top of the rock, would then offer a hand out to the next person, Camille.
Okay.
Well, I actually need you to catch me, Savvy. On the other side.
Never mind. Never mind. We leave Hamishi here, and I go down.
Okay. You go down on the other side.
And apparently, now we have to figure out how Hamish can help everybody else.
Yeah.
Hamishi.
Gosh dang it.
Hamishi, I need you to make a strength athletics check as you go
It
to-
hurts every time.
to pick up. Who are you picking up? Who's next?
I Camille.
Okay, Camille.
Thanks, Schmamish.
Call you fat.
Ham
Come on,
Shamish.
you. Doing some free running. Oh, my freaking back.
With all due respect, I am in perfect working shape.
Well, then why are you so blasted heavy? Savvy got over just fine.
Strength athletics, my dude. Hamish. Hamish.
Oh wait, hold on. Sorry. It was I rolled it at disadvantage. Do you want to use
Well,
those or
no, the 2 works.
Okay.
Yeah. You end up falling backwards, and Camille catches you. And now Savvy's separated from the group, and everyone else is on the other side of the rock, and it's very disappointing.
Savvy's dead. Forget about her.
Listen, I'm gonna need you to give me another boost.
Your dice look so
Well-
beautiful in this environment.
Well, are you sure I'll be able to? With all this fat, hardly any room for muscle.
Well, if you lay it down, I can just jump and treat you as a bouncy pad.
You are
All right.
feeling so
All
saucy
right,
today.
all right.
I'll give you a boost, but I won't be happy about it.
I'm gonna step
It's because I
between him
didn't
and
get to
bit.
break open my rock.
We can't move forward with this kind of tension in the group. I would like, if you're both amicable, for there to be a hug between friends before we continue.
I'll allow it.
Remember,
Savvy.
we care about each other.
While they're having this conversation, Mercy has started to hammer in 2 pitons as steps
Yep.
and climbs.
Okay. Yeah, it took long enough. You have plenty of time.
And Camille, what do you admire about Amish?
Session 1, baby.
I feel like we've had some real healing here today, don't you? All
I
right.
admire his keen eye for nature and the feet that disturb it.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Hamelish, how about you? What do you admire about Camille?
I think he's a fine stand-up gentleman that treats others nicely. I'll find
Ain't
me
this
on the way up.
beautiful? This is wonderful. Now we can work. Oh, Mercy! Look at you go.
You say you'll find your
Mercy!
own way up, but like this whole conversation, I've been like back against the wall, ready to boost you.
Just waiting.
I
This has been wonderful.
at this
We've
one, I
we've
can't. I gotta do
we've-
it myself.
Brucey's
built
hammered
bridges.
a pin in right above his head. Like,
So, eventually, with the help of Mercy's, is it Python or Pittons? You make it up.
It's Amish.
It's yes.
Hitlish.
It's going red to rage. Red
you,
to rage.
you make it up and over the rock. You've solved my rock puzzle. Good job, guys.
We did it.
You did it. And
Almost as difficult as doors.
almost as you make your way around the serpentine, the moss and the grass stops growing this far in, and you can feel cold air whirring through this tunnel. And Ham, you can go ahead and clear that rock. I'll allow it.
I do my best to leap over it in a single bound to show that I'm not as small and as short and as helpless as I am.
Yeah, it's like it's like a leapfrog, and you look glorious doing it, and your armor matches, by the way.
Man, I wish you'd make him roll performance for this shit.
I'm willing.
Are you trying to perform? You're trying to impress? Did I miss that?
No. I'm performing for myself.
All right. Well, yeah.
Deception.
You know what? The night's coming to an end. Let's finish with a performance. Go ahead.
Performance.
Mm-hmm.
Athletics check or
I'm going to shout ahead and be like, "You're doing great, Hamelish." And I'm gonna give him inspiration.
Okay. Roll performance with inspiration. This is a show.
At 8. No inspiration is helping me out, man.
Look.
Ooh.
You know how when you
Rare
play leapfrog
non-natural
with your
one.
friends, and the friend who is the frog that you have to leap over suddenly like lays down on the ground? That's what happens. There's no rock to leap over. And instead, now I won't damage you on this one because the moss, but you basically like snail slide over it, like a penguin slides over snow. And then you scorpion on the other side. And now everyone else knows what not to do.
So that's how you don't jump over a rock.
very informative. I appreciate that because I did the similar thing on the way down.
Look, I'm having a bit of an off day.
Wait, I want to try it.
Sammy's gonna go and just pat him on the shoulder before offering him a hand as she steps over him.
Well, you have a charisma of 8, so it's all good.
I'm so defeated.
Don't worry, sir. Your time to shine is coming up, I promise.
Mercy wants to try it though.
What are you trying to do?
He said that's not how to go over a boulder, so I'm going to follow his
You're going to do it the right way. Okay.
Instructions.
You will do
the right way.
Let's see your performance.
This is going to be amazing.
Oh. You know,
Yep,
I don't want to sound like a
that's
broken
exactly
record.
How I thought.
It is a broken record, guys. You do exactly that. And guys, you realize that written on the bottom of Mercy's boots, there's a word, a name.
Andy.
Fantasy Andy. But she quickly rolls onto her feet and stands back up. And you have a bunch of moss like under your goggles, like in your face. But this is not a boss, guys. We're not supposed to linger here, just so you know.
Don't tell us what to do.
TPK.
Everybody knows the true enemy is rocks.
The rock is only 2 feet off the ground. Like, you guys are struggling. What you see as you turn, or yeah, 2 feet's really big for you. You see that there's this blue mist coming from the ground, and it is a very deep hole. You imagine this hole is probably, if you threw a rock down, at least 50 to 60 feet. You see there's a mossy boulder in front of you on this side, and you can also see that on the other side of this crevasse, is the rest of the cave tunnel. And unless you can cross it, you're kind of at a dead end.
Also, question: how long has it been since the last tink?
Oh, they have been happening on pattern every 3 minutes, 4 tinks,
Okay.
and then rest.
How big did you say the gap was?
The gap is 20 feet wide and about 60 feet deep. And you can't see the bottom. It is covered in this blue mist. It is very deep down there. And on that puzzle, ladies and gentlemen, we will call it the end of our first session. We are at the hour, on the mark. When we come back next week, we'll either go home with 2 horses. What did you guys do with the horses?
They're still up there wandering the wild.
They're wild.
We butchered them. We butchered
Mercy,
all of them.
Mercy would not have been brave enough to go towards them. So there's
Okay. Well, in that case, let me wrap up by turning off the music. And yeah, leave your characters as are. Fantastic job, everyone. Nobody's dead. And here we are, deep underneath the Windwood Forest, in a cave hole. Good job.
Nice.
Yay. All right.
Good job.
We did that.
I appreciate you guys so much. That's all I got.